Today we'll start this class. This is the GRC, Governance, Risks and Compliance. This is the mostly theoretical class and very, very important for your cybersecurity knowledge. So today I introduced our new instructor. This is the name is Saiful Murshid. Basically, he came from our first batch and this is our culture. We study this our culture. Alhamdulillah, Allah granted us. He joined with us 2025 from January, and Alhamdulillah now is September, and we successfully landed our team. And inshallah, 2026 middle, we are starting this our MSSP. Slowly, we make our good team, inshallah. So everyone help us and everyone join with us. Inshallah, this is our new instructor, Safil Murshid Bhai, today conduct this class. Um, but I'm available, is online. If anything problem, Safil Murshid Bhai. So you just started class. And anything problem, just knock me. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, sure. Assalamu alaikum all. Yeah, I think I spoke with this batch like other day, so I don't need to reintroduce myself. But let's get started then. So today, the class actually we are focusing on GRC, right? The main whole 3 hours class will be GRC. So introduction of cybersecurity within organization, because GRC actually related with this organization and employees. So that's why this is the headline. You can see. Are you guys hear me clear, right? Anybody can confirm?
Y-
Yeah,
Yeah, at
perfect,
least I can hear you
per-
clearly.
perfect. If I go here, like class objective, by end of this class, actually, we'll be identify actually the three concrete benefit of healthy security culture. What does it mean, healthy security culture? And then explain the responsibilities of the suite officers and the CISO, it's like higher management. Explain the responsibility of security department and identify the appropriate security controls for a given resource and situation. So this will be our class objective that we learn actually in going forward step by step. So security alignment with this organization, if you go to the next slide, this is like the example of this, like the how actually organization structure. You see that here, like, you know, in the top, like here, chief security risk officer, then enterprise chief officer, head of the production. So under head of the what is called, then enterprise CIO, and under him like IT operation of what is called incident response and IT security team. And here enterprise chief security officer, he's actually like managing this area. Chief information security of what is called of okay, so enterprise chief security officer. Okay, under his like this is actual job title, chief information security officer. Okay, and security standard, so it is belongs to him, like reporting to him. And the security architect, it depends on like it can be very like organization to organization. This is like one kind of example, looks like from the larger organization, but if it is smaller or medium, it could be like little bit different, but this is high level overview. But our objective is today to understand actually GRC, and this will be related with this organization. So if I go to the here GRC framework, so here in the you see like GRC framework is answering the following question. So there's a two question: what assets are most important, and and second question, what is the earthquake protection? So if I ask you guys like what do you mean, what is mean by asset? Anybody can like think about like what is asset means by uh if we took actually non-technical example for asset. So this is very important, like these terms actually you need to understand actually in the real what is called uh in technical terms too, in order to work in real environment. So if you think about asset as a non-technical example, like asset means, for example, like jewelry, important documents, family photo, right? This is like very, very valuable asset. If you think about like what is called less important asset, let's say like old magazine or any newspaper, you can think about like what is called this is less important asset, right? And if you think about like what is called the asset of like in cybersecurity terms, so what does it mean then asset, right? So asset means like, for example, the data, system, and the people, right? So anything like, the world actually, everything like is data driven, like everything depending on data. So in GRC term here, like in cybersecurity, asset we can actually define, for example, like customer information, financial record, intellectual property. This kind of data you can consider as a like what is called asset. Also in the system, like if you think about like system perspective, your server, your asset, your database, your asset, your apps, your endpoint, your asset, right? If you think about like what is called the people, like people with the privileged access, for example, like who can manage actually the database server, who can manage, let's say, networking, you know. So those kind of things in cybersecurity you can consider as a asset. So how we can actually what is called identify and classify the asset. So it's like there is a in cybersecurity term is called CIA, right? I think you guys can learn later, or maybe you already knows. Like this will be help you actually to identify and classify the asset. So any question guide up to here, what does it mean asset, in cybersecurity terms? No question?
So basically, you're trying to say that asset means anything part of this program, like, part of cybersecurity or part of, technologies. For example, data, information, or it could be admin information or as admin in a team, right? Or
Right. Because like if you lost your asset, you'll be what is called lose your value or business, or it can harm you, right? So if you lose something, actually, if it is affected and if you lose something, that means this is you can consider your asset and you can classify your asset. It's just like it can be like higher priority, less priority, right? And based on this asset priority, you should be define your security. So will be so this so how we can actually define the security based on actually next question.
yeah.
Okay, so here is saying that like so by this so we already knows what is mean by asset. So and next question, what is adequate protection? So adequate protection is means actually applying the right level of security controls, like based on value and risks. It is not like you cannot actually make everything 100% secure. It's like impossible, right? But you need to ensure actually what is called protection balance based on your asset or value. For example, like a non-technical example, jewelry, right? Or your important documents. So this is actually very valuable asset for you. So if it is valuable, you need actually like, let's say, strong protection. You can you should be keep this kind of asset in the safe locker, right? Because it's valuable. But for example, like and this is nothing but adequate protection. How you can actually define your protection based on value. And then, for example, as I said earlier, like old magazine, maybe you can simply put in your glass cabinet. This is enough. So what is mean by that actually? You don't need to actually is define actually earthquake protection. You don't need to need to overspending for lock everything. So you just need to lock or put a security that you care about, right? For example, in like cybersecurity terms, uh, for example, like what do you think about like a high level asset? As I said, like the data. So data, let's say your customer data, or let's say your bank account or user information, right? So in this case, you need here like this kind of strong security. For example, you should encrypt your data. You can apply multi-protection, how is the multi-factor authentication, regular audit. You will be learn about like I think going for CM monitoring, like if something happening within your asset or any what is called um, mm, like malicious activities, you need actually monitoring system. So that you guys will be learned later. But here we are trying to understand actually what kind of protection we need based on, as I said, risk, what is called asset value. Lower value we can consider as a, like, in cybersecurity term, let's say there is a company booklet. Let's say once if you are joining in any company, there's a benefit booklet. Oh, what kind of benefit you can get from this company. So this is not a, like, what is called very important asset. You can consider this kind of things like lower value, because if you lose, you are not losing any, I think, what is called, let's say, business or something, like it's not going to arm your business. So that's how actually you can define. First, you need to define your asset, and then what is called identify the value, and then based on value, you need to actually define your protection. This is nothing but called earthquake protection. Any question, guys, up to here?
Can I share something? So you were
Sure.
trying to say that there should be nothing less or nothing more.
Right.
Based on our assets value, we need to provide the protection. Let's say if there is need one security, for example, one security guy
Yeah.
to take care of a building, I don't need to provide two
Right.
people
Right.
there, right?
Right.
Or probably might be I need 5 of them, so I need to provide 5 of them.
Right.
There shouldn't be less.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. And let's say some building actually, let's say you just
Mhm.
actually keep your, let's say, oh, for example, like your, what is called, something like this is not you need, like it's not valuable, it's maybe not required even, like,
Mhm.
security. So you don't, in
Yeah,
this case, you don't need like security guard. So this is actually define how we can first protect your asset, because like putting security is too expensive, right, for everything. So if you
of
don't need
course.
security, yeah, but you need to actually definitely actually what is called secure your important asset. And that's we already described, like customer data, for example, or your database for the system. Second question, I'm going to actually taking a little bit more longer time in the beginning, then we'll move fast forward, but you need to understand the concept. This is very important actually for your interview too, and for any, I mean, like, technical analysis or research. Second question I have, like, for you guys, like, what is mean by actually the framework, right? Like it's saying the GRC framework. So what is mean by framework? So if I, what is called, give you the non-technical example, like framework is nothing but a simplified structure, right? It's giving you the guidelines, the rules, and best practice how it should be proceed. You can consider like a blueprint of a building design, right? So this is nothing but a framework of how you can actually what is called build your building. Or if you think about, like, let's say, for example, like cooking recipe. So recipe here, like food recipe, nothing but your framework. So you don't, so it does not, like, this framework does not cook your meal, right? But it will tell you how to what kind of ingredients you need, steps or order you need to follow. But you can add your own, let's say, spicy, right? But the structure or guideline already there, what you need to do. So same thing, like if you conceptually, like in framework for technical terms in GRC. So GRC's framework is nothing but actually set of like policy, procedures, controls, you know, and they're designed to help organization to manage and reduce the risks in a structured way. So it means, like, it's enable the consistency and ensuring the compliance. Uh, for example, like let's say your GRC team. So there's a GRC team in, you can see, like, every or it's IT organization, and they can maybe, let's say, if you guys hear about like NIST security framework, right? So they can maybe say, hey, you need to follow this framework. Let's say there's maybe 2 or 3 standard out there. There will be, might be what is called set of rules. You need to follow NIST standard. You need to follow the others ISO standard. So this is nothing but actually GRC, like framework, will be set a policy, and as I said, procedures and control that you need to follow. Your organization need to follow. Are you guys clear? Like, this is very important terms for any framework. Like if people actually ask about a framework, so it doesn't matter like GRC, it can be like any framework. Let's say your working framework, like, if you're a developer, okay, development framework. If you're a tester, testing framework. So here we are focusing on GRC framework. Any question, guys? Like frameworks is very important to understand. No question? Okay. So let's move in next steps like GRC. What is mean by GRC? So GRC, G means governance, R means risks. So it's called risk management, and C means compliance. So it's like, as I said, it's a frameworks that help actually organization align with their security activities within business, for example, like objectives, and manage risks actually effectively and ensuring the compliance with law, regulation, and standard. So here you can see like it's saying that GRC creating management process, okay, and implementing security practice across the organization. And risk management identify the organization most important asset. That's we learn actually. So risk management team, they will be identify the important asset and determine how they might could be compromised or might be compromised. And compliance team, they're making sure actually business follow their internal security policy. So if I actually, what is called, give you the simple example, like what is mean by governance. So it's, as I said, it is setting a policy, governance, define a role, and creating a accountability of security. And risk management, if I refresh again, it is identifying your asset and how to mitigate the security risks. Like for example, like let's say how to mitigate phishing, ransomware, or insider threat. So they will be actually identify this. And compliance, as I said, this team normally they are focusing on like ensuring here like business means like employee, right? They should be follow the what is called regulatory or industry requirements. For example, you guys learn about maybe later like HIPAA, there is a standard name, PCIC, Placid card, I think it's called transaction something. So there's a lot of like policy or like standard. This compliance team making sure, okay, they are actually following this standard. And this is actually very important in like, in cybersecurity to understand governance, risks, and compliance. Any question, guys, up to here? So if I give you like example, for example, like the governance, if you guys are not clear, for example, think about like what is called a bank set a policy that all employee must be use like multi-factor authentication to access the customer data. So who actually define this rule? Actually governance. So they define the rules and leaders and every employee, I'm repeating again, like must follow. For example, every employee must be scan their badge once they what is called enter to the building. So they define the rule, what employee or the team should does. And risk management, so they are identify actually, let's say here, as I said, like they are defining, let's say multi-factor authentication. And risk management, they are thinking about like their asset, how to protect. Let's say they're thinking about like, oh, hacker can actually steal customer data. So in order to mitigate, how to mitigate, actually implement multi-factor authentication or detection policy for phishing, phishing attack. And compliance, they are nothing but making sure everybody actually what is called following these rules or not. So are you guys clear or still confused?
So the third thing, compliance, basically focusing on both governance and risk management, if they're doing their job, correctly or not. study
No,
referring to?
no, not risk. So governance, nothing but, for example, like let me give you another example. So
Sure.
governance, let's say so governance, let's say government company, government organization, for example. It can be any organization. Governance means not government. It can be any organization, team names governance. So let's say there's a government organization and they set up making a rule for traffic law. So government, let's say US government making a rule for traffic law. So this department called governance, whoever making a rules for traffics. Risk management, uh, you know, they are actually what is called defining, hey, a driver, in order to avoid accident, they should be follow the the signal, for example, or traffic light and other things. They should be maintaining the thing. If they don't maintain, it's a risk, right?
Yes.
So compliance, let's say here's a compliance, right? The compliance team making sure, okay, like whatever they defined, actually they are following this. Here you can consider like police officer. They are ensuring, okay, every driver following what is traffic rules. But yeah, so I think you got
Yeah,
like
I got the idea. Yeah.
yeah. So it's just, so it can be like, it can be applicable for like anything. It's not like only for GRC, not for like only for technical terms. Like it can be non-technical things as well as. So we are
Yeah,
thinking about
so
like
it could be
cybersecurity.
implemented by any organization.
Right. So if we think about
Just a
like,
general idea.
right, you got it. But if you think about our cybersecurity, we are only concerned like security. That's why I give you the example, like here we need to implement like let's say multi-factor authentication or other things, or
Yeah.
like credential, username, password. You cannot, should not be accessed without username, password, and you should be use like strong password, for example, right?
Yeah, so we're creating those set of rules and implementing those practice. They're the part of the governance.
Right. That's true.
And yeah, and the other is part of the risk management, and the last one is the part of the compliance.
Right.
So anyone can be working in different, section like governance, risk management, or compliance, right?
Right. No, that's true. It's like there is a different teams normally in every organization. Okay, this team actually set up the rules, and there is a risk management and there is a compliance.
So Aru will be part of the risk management as a cybersecurity engineer?
No, it's a different team. I see that it's maybe defense, what is called company to company, but I see that what is called this GRC, totally different teams. Some people in GRC, let's say there is for example, two people, for example, working on this, another two people working on this, and another two people working on this. Or like if it is pretty big organization, let's say you can consider this is a different one team, this is another team, and this is another team. So they are working under part of GRC, but there is a three different team you can consider, So normally you'll see like maybe like if it is even medium size or larger, it'll be different team for governance, risk management, and compliance. It will be like all this independent team, and they will be monitoring everything, the compliance team, to making sure we are doing right things. So if I move, if next slide, like we defined actually important, and by asking like important asset, for example, like how you would security compromise of this asset affect the profit of the business. So basically how to decide here is nothing but telling how to decide if asset is important or not based on the business impact. So how we can define it actually, right? Asset, is this important or not? It's based on your like, if it is got attack, is it going to harm you, right? So it depends on like business impact, as I said. So it means like important asset like database. So like going back to the previous example, server, website, like those are like core things that drive your business, right? And if the asset actually compromise those kind of asset, does this affect your business profit, right? So if answer is yes, so it could be impact your business profile, operation, and reputation, right? So in GRC, what is called GRC decision, like what should be protect first, like risk management. For the business value, for you want to protect first money, you want to protect first trust or compliance. So it's like so they will be like risk management actually, what is called, or GRC team, they will be actually what is called defined based on your asset value, what you need to protect first, you know.
Even though all three are important, but it will be
So
decided by the GRC framework team.
yes, I think there's a what is called in coming slide we'll be getting more idea, right? You know, how actually
Mhm.
you know, like how we can prioritize, like do you need to what is called prioritize, I mean like money, trust, or compliance. So there's an in coming slide will be learned. So
Okay.
so the most significant and the loss, the most important of the asset. This is right. If you lost more, that means your asset is very important, right? So if you think about, like, for example, what is called money loss. So there's a three things we discuss, like money loss. Like let's say there's an online website for e-commerce, right? If it is got DDoS attack, are you guys familiar with DDoS? Like, so distributed. I forget to meaning DDoS. Let me see. DDoS attack meanings. It's called distributed denial of service. So distributed denial of service, let's say your website. So your website means your asset, right? This is the one of the valuable asset. So let's say got DDoS attack. So DDoS attack means is going to be your, let's say your website completely goes shut down or offline for 2 days. So they're just attacking to down your website. So in this case, what you lost actually, like customer cannot shop from your website, right? And business could be lost actually millions of dollars. So therefore, in this case, like your website actually very important asset. But you're not actually what is called, for example, it's you're losing here like money, right? You're not losing actually, let's say, any data or any other asset. You are just losing here money because your website got attacked and it's only got actually down or like offline for 2 days, but let's say attacker is not hacked yet. So it's just got attacked. So in this case, what's happened, you just actually losing money, right? And losing customer trust as well as. But let's say actually your database got attacked, right? Customer database. So it's compromised, let's say your website actually, your database, and hacker actually steal your customer financial data. So what's happened in this case is directly impact actually regulation, right? So you should be protect your customer data. This is like there's the regulation. It's called like one example like PCI regulation, like PCI DSS. I think plus what is called. I forget actually PCI meaning PCI. Let me Google it. Giving the actually right example. So PCI, I think yeah,
Payment card
so
industry.
payment card industry data security standard, you know. So in this case, like, you know, yeah, you got it. Thank you. So if you lost your actually customer data, right, this is very important asset. So in this case, your company will be fine because you lost, because you are not actually able to maintain your customer data, right? So it's directly impact the regulatory and directly impact the customer trust, right? So that means actually database compromise means like you can consider it's a compliance impact and major financial loss. So what is trying to explain here, right? If you lose actually like trying to give you the example, like so DDoS attack, like you can lose only money, but you are not actually losing compliance here. So just for example, if it is only DDoS attack, distributed denial of service means your what is called server or website goes down for certain period of time. But your if your database got hacked. In this case, you are losing actually two things, trust and compliance, right? So are you guys like clear on like, I think pretty much like we are talking about like GRC, only thing like targeting GRC. That's why I'm taking those kind of example. And the trust, compliance, all these are things actually related with GRC. So if you go to actually next slide, you see that here GRC framework will be study actually how GRC framework are considering as a or is called implemented into a business by first examining the following. Okay. So the executive management team is ultimate responsible. It's an executive team, means like higher management. They are actually responsible for adherence and enforce the law, regulation, and security practice. So like top management or top leadership, they are nothing but managing the rules. Like they are part of, you can see like, remember like governance. Think about like the governance. So here governance, they are defined like executive team. So this team actually define the rules, best practice, like and the laws. So it's means like for executive, like you can think about like CIO, like CEO, like board director, this kind of rules you can consider as a like executive management team. So like why it's matter in GRC, right? So GRC is not like technical things, as I said earlier. It's like what is called business-wide governance issue. If the executive actually don't support it, like the policy and controls, it would not be effective, right? So you need actually strong support in order to implement GRC from the like executive management. And executives management, nothing but they'll be like part of the governance, and you need their support, right? So for example, like if I give you like, so here we are talking about like implementation, right? How we can implement. If you cannot get a support from top management, nothing but who is governance team, you cannot actually implement GRC, right? Because there is no support. For example, like if I take about like non-technical example, let's say you are a restaurant owner and make what is kind of responsible making a like healthy food, right? So even like your chef, let's say he actually cooked very well and clean every day, but owner does not care about actually what is called like healthy food, right? Or hygienic policy. So if owner does not care about like healthy food and hygienic policy, do you think this restaurant food quality will be good? Definitely not, right? Because owner doesn't care. So there's sort of in same thing in cybersecurity. Like if governance team, nothing but executive team, if you get actually they are primarily responsible to making this kind of laws, rules, and regulation, and there should be support to implement. So this is like how actually you can implement like GRC in your organization. Are you guys clear on this, like in this slide, or do you have any question? No question. Okay, next slide, like security management. So security management, planning and identify the security rules, development security policy. So here security management, like we're thinking about like you can consider as a like executive team, management team. Like so planning and defining the security rules, development security policy, performing risk analysis, it is part of like risk analysis team. And then let's say like, so you guys might be confused here, right? So as I said, like this is part of like this part of governance, right? So performing security analysis. So they are not governance team, not performing security analysis. So that is security assessment team, right? So in this case, they will be get a report. So this team will be get a report from security risk team. So they will be asked, hey, I need a report actually, security assessment report, analysis report for this particular asset or whatever. And based on this report, they can actually develop the strategy, tactical and operation plan. Are you guys clear on this slide, right? So this is, as I said, like planning and defining the security rules. The GRCG, like governance teams or executive team responsibility. developing security policy, their responsibility, and so they will be what is called define a strategy, technical, and operation plan. How they actually define this one based on this report, and this report they can get from security risk analysis. So if you move actually next slide, right? So security management, you see here like it's like pyramid. If you think about like this strategic, tactical, and operational. So this pyramid actually what is called divided into three categories. The first category is strategic. It's saying the development strategic plan, long-term plan, like align with your organization goals, mission, and objective. And say long-term, like let's say 5 years. And tactical is mid-term, like plan that details on how to accomplish the goals. So they're defining goals, and this one actually, this middle like tactical, this will be work how they can actually reach their goal or mission or objective. So they set up a goal, and they are this part actually responsible how they can reach their goal or mission, right? An operational plan actually short term, highly detailed the plan based the strategy and tactical plan. For example, operation like how they can actually operate to actually do something in order to reach this goal. So if I give you like what is called best, what is like easy definition, like the strategic, they are focused on how they are like why they are doing this. For example, if you want to do something, like you should have a clear goal, mission, and objective, right? So they are the strategic team actually, like they are focusing on why they are doing because they have a like goals, mission, and objectives. So they're actually defining why they are doing in order to reach their what is called goals. And the tactical team, like their focus will be like what to do. Like for example, it's a 1 year. Like for example, like in 2000 next year, they set a goal next year to reach their whatever the goal. So this team actually defining, or this particularly defining, like how they reach to the goal, so they can define what to do in the next year. That so that's why they can get like closer to the goal, or they can achieve this goal. So they will be actually make a plan how they can reach this goal, the strategy, how they can reach the strategy. And this, the bottom one, like operation plan, like they're focused on how to implement, so implement like in practical. So for example, like a strategic, or let's say like over the next 5 years, your company wants to become a safest retail company in the country. So this is their goal. So if people actually comes here in their what is called retail website or retail store, people should be feel like this is the safe place to shop. So they make a strategy next 5 year. Okay, they will become a like #1 safest retail store, for example, right? So this team will say, oh, how I can actually make like, oh, okay, this store is like safe and secure. So they said, okay, this part actually, they are actually what is called, let's say, okay, this year we can implement, let's say, CC camera and hiring, let's say, 5 security guards to make sure like, security is strong enough. So they set a goal, make it secure, and they actually what is called defining how to reach this goal. And then the operation, like here, let's say, schedule like what is called the guard in like first shift, second shift, third shift. Let's say they check actually their camera because they install a CC camera, and their operation they check a camera to make sure if there is no what is called unethical things happening, and they are making sure actually what is called, let's say, store door, let's say it's like all the time, for example, it's a closed or it's locked actually. So just for example, so they are actually implementing real things like what to do, and they are actually defining how to do, and they are setting actually the goal. So this tactical and operation both team actually working to reach this goal. Any question, guys, up to here? For example, like if I take another example, like let's say technical example from like, let's say your company, like what is called, planning to achieve a ISO certification, in the over the next 5 years. So in order to get actually certification or any other security related certification, so let's say there is actually requirements, they need to employ what is called deploy multi-factor authentication monitoring system or conduct penetration testing. So in order to get this, what is called, let's say recognition, let's say ISO certified company, for example. So if they set a goal, this team will be identify what to do. So they say, oh, okay, in order to become a ISO certified company, I need to actually implement multi-factor authentication, strong monitoring system, and penetration testing. So because in penetration testing, normally organization will hire third party, what is consulting firm to make sure their the site or whatever asset is secure. You can do your own penetration testing, but it's a requirements. Let's say if it is financial or any other sensitive, what is called the website, or let's say there is a business, they are dealing with sensitive user data. In this case, it's a requirements like to do like for example, like any organization, you can see like there is an auditing system, right? Third party will become for auditing. So same here for security, third party will become for penetration testing to make sure, okay, are you really secure or not? So this is like, let's say they will be set up, oh, this kind of things. Okay, they will be conducted penetration testing, monitoring system, and then multi-factor authentication. And operational team, let's say, so how actually they support them? So this middle like tactical team, they need actually support from here, right? So whoever working, let's say in short term, so then it will, for example, update regularly their software monitoring, like alerting system. So this kind of things they can actually do in short term in order to support this. And if they get a support from this operational team, they can reach their strategy. Any question, guys? No question? Yeah, if it is hard to understand, guys, like, or like feel free to raise your hand so I can try to actually give you maybe like, any other easy example. But I feel like maybe you guys should understand whatever is discussing here. So if I actually move in the next slide, you can say, okay, security rules and responsibility. Executive rules existing in most companies. It's called like executive rules. Like this is nothing but leadership, or we can governance. Executive rules related with the security department. This responsibility of security, okay, responsibility of security department, the structure of the security department. It's like the overview, whatever we discussed already. So executive role, the core leadership here. So this is like kind of like structure, give you the or get an idea how it could be a structure, like CAO, responsible for polling with the overall the direction of the company. So if you see here, like here CEO, and then chief financial officer, chief operational officer, information officer, and then security officer, kind of like how they are organized on a structure, and under them there is a multiple like other you can consider team or different department. So same thing here, like if it's like giving you the like what is called the responsibility of chief financial officer. You see that the charts and monitoring for the company in what is called financial trajectory, helping ensure the company use the what is called finance wisely. So making sure actually whatever they're spending the money, they're using actually perfectly. The financial officer and the chief operational officer to ensure the business able to function. Operational, operating officer, kind of like anything operation. It can be like not only like cybersecurity. Like if you think of like operation officer, So they are mainly monitoring like, oh, business is up and running or not in day to day, you know. So this is their main concern. And the information security officer manage risks to the organization data through its life cycle. Are you guys familiar with this life cycle term? Like life cycle, nothing but, for example, like you can think about your life cycle, like you born, then you actually what is called try to learn how to walk, and then try to learn how to speak, and then try to learn how to actually lead your life, and then one day you'll be die, right? So your life is over. So everything, like there is a life cycle for every product. Every product there is a life cycle, or so this is not, oh, how actually we start and how it will be going to be end or finished. So life cycle, like it depends on like the which area you are talking about. And here chips what is called information officers here, okay, develop the IT system to support the business. So he's actually responsible for to develop the like whatever required actually to support the business, to making sure, for example, if we think about like cyber security, so he will be develop a security policy or security, let's say, technology to making sure actually business is secure, actually is actually safe from safe from like attacker. Just for example, if you think about like security. If you move in the next slide here, see the responsibility of the security department. So here, like you see that the department, like it could be more department, right? But here, like it's highlight actually 3 department: networking, incident response, and application security. So you see that this is like what is called the position, like who is actually responsible, but and supervise a director of the networking system, administrative network administrator and network administrator, and the physical network technical stuffs. Okay, and then incident response, like SOC manager, security analyst, and incident handlers. Okay, and application security, the security architect, typically manage the security engineers and software engineer. So if I give you like easy example, for example, in net here, like there is a 3 department is talking about, like network security, incident response, and application security. So if you think about like network security, so network security, like what they do here, like they're protecting the infrastructure, the network security department, to making sure the server, firewall, router, VPN, like Wi-Fi, whatever networking related, those are safe, you know. So this is actually this team actually responsibility, and this team like is a network admin, like there's a multiple roles belongs to this team. So it could be like network admin, sysadmin, network technician, or help desk support. So this is actually a part of this one. And incident response, this department, they are mainly focused like what is called detecting, investigating, and you can think of like responding like any incidents. For example, like detecting phishing, malware, or DDoS attacks. So let's say this team actually always like monitoring. Let's say, oh, okay, you see that the SOC analysis, right? They're always like monitoring. Is this something, anything suspicious that could be happened? There is so how they monitor, we already discussed, like SIEM, like monitoring system, and it could be like there's a lot of other tools out there for monitoring. So this is just for example, it could be any monitoring tools. SIEM is like in broader case, it's called any other secure, what is called monitoring tools integrated with this platform. So it will be centralized all this information. So incidents response team, nothing but they are detecting, as I said, like, oh, is this any uh, phishing or malware or DDoS attack happening or not, to make sure your asset is secure. Asset means it could be a website, it could be database, as I said, right? Or it could be your database server. And application security here, there's another team. So they are focused on actually protecting the software and application. So they don't care, like here, this team don't care about networking, right? And so because they have a different team actually, who actually normally doing their performing their responsibility. But this team mainly focus. But security actually, what is called responsible for all. We'll be actually discussing later slide. It's not like only like team responsibility to manage. It's your own responsibility to follow the what is called standard in order to secure your asset. It's not your personal asset, because if you're working for a company, so your company asset, you are the responsible person to protect your asset. Like no matter what's your responsibility, will be discussed later in security culture. There's a slide, but here we are talking about like main focus. So application security. You see that here, this team, they're protecting the software and application, like let's say web apps, APIs, mobile apps, from vulnerabilities. Because if they create a vulnerable software, it's like it will be exposed for attack, right? So then to make sure actually their application, whatever they developed, is not actually exposed for any vulnerabilities. So that's why it's like, security engineer or software engineer or the architect security are their responsibility in how they can secure their application. Any question, guys, up to here? No question? We're in slide 15. Okay, total 81. Okay, so let's move for the next slide here. Security and the security and the large organization. Okay, the security operation on is interact with the non-security teams. It's saying that like security operation interact with the other non-security teams, means like regular employee with the organization, right? For example, in organization marketing, because marketing and communication team, they are not actually directly responsible to manage any security, right? But we'll be discuss actually how they're related later slide. But it's saying that security team, operation team will be interact or like collaborate with the other teams. For example, non-technical or non-IT team like marketing team, communication team, to use their network accounts and IT, and that IT and the networking manager. Okay, let me discuss more actually here. So if you think about like security operation must be collaborate with as I said, like non-security team, and like those team communication marketing, you can think about like non-technical team, or it can be like HR or finance team, right? Because all the department rely on the IT system, the data and the network. So security like awareness is very important for everybody who is using those system, right? If I give you the example, for example, like if you're driving a car, right? So nowadays, all this modern car actually like they're implementing self-driving, right? Autopilot. So you bought a car and you are driving and you say, oh, okay, so this is autopilot or this is self-driving. So Toyota or like Tesla, they build this car and you don't care about accident, but you should, right? Because you should not be only relay like what is called with this technology. You should know how to properly use, right? You should not be like start this system or autopilot and when to sleep, right? You should know how to manage actually. So this is nothing but talking about like here same thing, same concept. So security team actually, okay, they are trying to like secure your environment or the system, and you as an employee should know how to use actually, right? So this is your responsibility. So here you can think about like, security team, because they are called interacting with this other non-technical team. So security team, you can think about they are enabler. They are not roadblocker. They don't want to block you, but you might get blocked sometimes. Let's say, oh, you are trying to actually upload, there's a malicious software in your system. Security team will be block you in real time. So it doesn't mean they are blocking you to perform your job. They are nothing but trying to secure you, So they are not actually roadblock for you, but they are just making sure whatever you are using, you are actually secure. Your system is secure, you're secure, and your information or your data is secure. So instead of just blocking, security team should be helps the team works safely and effectively, and most important, you can like train the employee for security awareness. So if employee, or let's say for example, if you don't know how to drive, if you don't have driver license, and if you bought a car, autopilot or self-driving car, and you should not, right? Because you don't know how to drive, you don't have driver license, you just bought a car and go to the freeway. That doesn't make sense, right? So your responsibility as a driver, you should actually know how to drive a car, even if it is self-driving. So here, same concept. You can think about like security team, right? As I said, they are interacting with the other team. So their responsibility also, like, train the employee how we can actually use this system, how we know this email actually phishing or not. So every organization will be see they normally, how to say, set a, like, let's say workshop, or send a academy, like video record, let's say video or tutorial. Hey, watch this to learn how to avoid like phishing attack, or how we can identify, oh, this is not a real email, that for example. So this is also security operation team responsibility to train the employee or train the user how they should use this system. So if employee don't know how to use the system, that's the problem, right? So once you're actually using, for example, marketing team, they are using company computer. So company requirements, you should be use company network, or you should be use VPN. Because you are not in office, you should be use VPN, but you are not using, let's say. And in this case, you should not be able to connect, but let's say somehow you are able to connect with internet. You are not using VPN. So in this case, like, you are exposed security risks. So that's why actually you should know as an employee how to actually manage security. And security team, as I said, they are not roadblocker, they are enabler. So they will be training you, or they will be informing you, hey, how you can connect with the VPN. So every company will be see, once you join, they'll be actually give you the guideline. Oh, this is the way you can actually connect with VPN. Or this is how actually you should be lock your computer, or this is how you should be set up your password. Let's say, oh, you should not be set 1, 2, 3. Company will be say, oh, your system will not allow. You'll be the most of the website, for example. Once you actually try to do like that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this kind of password, it will be not taking this kind of password. In this case, you'll be see like system will tell you, hey, this password is not secure. Use uppercase, lowercase, special character. It will be guide you. So sometimes it can be guide, but how to use the system, kind of like it's called like I forget the term, use case. I forget actually this term what is called, but the system will guide you. Same thing like security team can be arranged what is called training and other things for security awareness. Any question, guys, up to here? And that's you need actually in real time in day-to-day activities. So going to the next slide, actually, what other example you can think, So do you guys have any other example how you can secure? For example, if you think about this picture, he's working, looks like in the computer, there is a coffee and there is a note, he's reading something. So let's say if you are way out of your desk, in this case, you can keep your coffee here, that's fine. It's not, you don't need to actually secure your coffee. It's fine here, you can just simply keep here. But the note, maybe let's say there is important data. You should be lock your computer, you should be keep your note in secure place and then go somewhere, right? Do you have any other example, guys? Think about like how we can secure. It can be your system, it could be your information, it could be anything. So if you don't have, so if I go to the next slide, you see there is security concern versus business concern. The most profitable decision is not always most secure. Profitable is saying the profitable decision. Profitable decision means like business decision. Business always think about profit. They don't care about like security. Okay, security, there's a security team, but business, their main intention actually like profit. Then second, focus other things. but their highest priority, any business, highest priority profit. If business is not profitable, they don't need this business, right? They don't need to run this business. So why don't they do care about the other things? So first, actually, that's why it's saying that the most important profitable decision is not always more secure, because first they're thinking about profit. So security objective may be the odds within the with those business. For example, here I think this is the security team manage a goal like protect to the business data, and so this is actually security team goals. Security team goals, right? Not like profit. Primary goal. Ultimately, like everything is related with profit, any business, right? We are talking about like primary goal, business primary goal, profit, not security. Security team primary goal, secure your data, not profit. Secure your data first. So here, like two things, like security team, their main goal protect your business, and business main goal maximize the profit and improve efficiency. But it's like basic things. So if you go to, so what should the security team do actually here? So if you go here, you see that. So an organizational engineering team propose innovation but insecure new. So here is saying that there is an engineering team propose a innovative but insecure. So they propose something insecure feature for the flagship product. So here you can see security team would probably advise against a new feature due to the poor security. That's actually, there is an innovation, new business. So security team said, hey, there is a poor security in the new feature, but business might decide business to develop it anyway, believing potential profit, right? Because business always think about profit. Security teams here, like what is called, think about security. So security team viewpoints here, like the risks, like it could be data like less security, right? It could be uh, data leakage or compliance issue or attack surface. But business leadership viewpoint here, like the growth revenue, right? Even with some risks, because they're thinking about the profit. Then security. So as let's say you are a security engineer, right? So what should you do in this scenario, right? Any idea, guys? It's okay. They are trying to implement or innovate actually new feature or business because it's profitable, but you are seeing here there is poor security, but business want to implement. So you as a security engineer, what's your responsibility? What is supposed to be doing in this scenario? Any thought?
So what I'm thinking, probably we need to discuss with the business team and just minimal security, at least if we don't provide any security, right?
Yeah.
So then we might lose our profit.
Right. So yeah, you are in right track. So same thing, I'm going to like, I think giving the example for like, you can actually clarify the business. Hey, if there is no security, it could be lose your data. It could be going forward in long term, you'll be lose your trust, customer trust. Is initially business might be profitable, but if it is exposed for attack, yeah. So you'll be, and if you lose your data, you'll be lose your customer, and you'll be get a fine from regulatory, right?
Yes.
So what you need to do as a security engineer, like you should not be say like it's called like a security team should not be like department of no. You should not see everything is no, you cannot implement. Your responsibility here actually, you should be guide the business. So if you guide the business, share your thought, then business can take a what is called a knowledgeable or informative decision to balancing the innovation like profit, security, and risk tolerance, right? So based on your advice, because you need to actually guide the business, right? So once you actually guide the business and hey, this is the concern, In this case, they can actually try to balance. Okay, okay, I need to actually implement security. Here might be I need to spend some money, and then maybe, okay, I don't need to maybe security for, let's say, low priority, as I discussed, like low priority asset, let's say medium priority, higher priority. So business might be say, okay, low priority, I can take risks. But higher priority, whatever, let's say customer data, customer account, whatever secure data, I need actually what it's called a strong security policy or strong security implementation. Any question, guys, up to here? So, okay, okay. So this is next slide related with this. So what should do security team do? Like, that's our question, right?
I'm sorry if I'm just saying from the previous slide. So
Same with
security
this.
team should provide the proper guidance to the business.
What is that? Can you repeat,
Like
please?
I was saying, like security team should provide proper guidance to the business.
Right.
Not just saying, oh, you cannot do that.
Right.
You should
That's
not
why
do it.
yeah, that's why I said, like,
There should be a
earlier.
balance.
Right. You got it. So that's why we discussed it earlier. Security should not be say always no. Security should not be like blocker. It should be enabler. Okay, you
Yes.
should be help the business how they can enable this business. You should be guide and what is called help them to make a informative decision. So related with same thing here, like so the is telling like as a security team, you should put in place more aggressive monitoring. So this is your advice could be, hey, you need actually monitoring system, data server for the new feature, and is there advise the IT networking to put in place more sophisticated access control. So like this is just kind of like example. So we can actually, as a security team, we can say, hey, you need actually more strong monitoring system because so like remember like you said like minimum, at least like minimum security. So let's say, okay, because they can't afford maybe all these kind of things, but they need to actually implement here. You can say, okay, you can't implement this one, but you need actually monitoring system. If something happening, you'll be getting alert right away, and you should be what is called put a strong security in the networking, depending the scenario. So I think we are clear here, right? Pretty much. So the takeaway actually from here actually security team must be flexible, and align with the business priority. Because if business is not profitable, you will be lost your job definitely. So you need to actually business, what is the profit is like, this is important, but as a security engineer, you should be secure your business. This is your higher priority, but end of the day, everything is profit, right? So there should be a balance. So as I said, like security team should be flexible and take a necessary action, discuss with the business and implement and trying to share their thoughts so business can make an informative decision. Any question, guys, up to here? I think we'll discuss a lot. But if I go here, like I say the 100% security is not possible, like not business goal. Like to limit spending and increase the profit, business often provide only at quick protection. Remember, we discussed actually at quick protection in the first slide. What you need to protect, how to prioritizing your protection based on your asset value. So this is nothing but at quick protection. If the asset value, let's say company booklet, so this is less priority, you don't need to secure. But the company customer data, this is like higher priority, you need a strong security there. So that's why I say like 100% security is not a business goal, but what about the what is called, you need to actually prioritize your security based on like at quick protection. That's we learned actually earlier. I think you guys are clear here, right? Because we discussed a lot actually earlier uh, regarding this 100% security. Do you need or not? For if I refresh again, like your gold, diamond, you should be keeping your safe locker. You can implement the camera. low value jewelry like plastic things, you don't need to actually in safeguard. Same thing for technical example, like customer data, it should be encrypted. You should be implement monitor. Should be implement multi-factor authentication, biometric access, for example. And company, as I said, like company booklet, you don't need like high security. So the takeaway actually here, like, security is about like risk-based prioritization. Remember, there is a risk team, right? They'll be prioritized what is the risk and what is the high risk, what is the less risk. So you need to make a decision based on your risk-based prioritization to protect most important asset, not everything. This is what actually is trying to tell. So if you go to next slide, security versus business, is this the feature of this risk? This is like we already discussed business security versus business. The next slide is asking the question. So if you see about this slide here, security versus business in the future, what this risks, an organization engineering team propose an innovative but insecure, we discussed it, right? Similar concept feature for the flagship product. Okay, this organization perform a risk assessment. So remember, like, there is a new product and it was insecure. That's what we discussed last slide. Then you advise something, you raise your concern to the business. So what business do once you raise your concern, they perform a risk assessment, right? To calculate and concludes. Okay, so whatever they are actually getting. So risk assessment will be help you to identify like the balance or prioritizing the risks. So here you see that this is, you can consider one side, you see that in your this new feature, let's think about this is the balancer. So the one side is money, right? And other side is risks. So in this new feature is saying that if you implement this new feature could be lead 25% profit. But at the same time, this feature would be risks exposing isolated like data server risk. So okay, this feature could be also risks as exposing an isolated data server. Say data server is isolated data contains the customer containing the customer, okay, names, username and email address, but no other PPI. So he's saying that this server only contain customer name, username, email address, but not other PIP. PIP means personal identifiable identifiable information, means like social security. You can think about your driver license. This is called like PII. So here they are actually performing what is called risk assessment, the company to make a decision. So here advantage, if you think about like business here, once they actually performing this risk assessment and they find actually this information, here advantage is like after this risk assessment, it's increase the quarterly profit, like business side, like 20% revenue, right? And disadvantage, it could be exposed the isolated data server. It's saying that it could be actual risks, right? Isolated data server with that contains actually customer name, username, email address, but it's not actually taking sensitive other sensitive information, PII, nothing but let's say social security. So this is like what is called is user could be lose their username, password, and email address, but what is called, it's not actually, this database not storing any other information. But problem is like if user lose username and password, what is called, attacker can attack what is called the other site or other database to steal this PII information, right? So in this case, like what is called, we need to actually explain what could be happened actually in this scenario, like what could be the impact and how we can actually mitigate. For example, like we discussed actually implementing like other monitoring system, or maybe what is called multi-factor authentication or access control. Remember, like so are you guys what is called familiar with like what does it mean access control? We actually discussed in last slide. Remember here somewhere access control. I said that. So are you guys familiar with the access control? What does it mean?
Like
So yeah.
multi-factor authentication, right? It's a
No. Access control is different. Multi-factor authentication, like what is called secure your access, but access control, for example, let's say you are a user, right? For example,
oh, you mean let's say they're admin,
right.
their user.
Yeah. So like yeah, this is called like access list privilege or something in cybersecurity. Like things you don't need to access, you should not be accessed. Let's say you should be accessed only like the thing you need. So you as a user, you should not be get access to view the other what is called user data.
Yes.
So it depends. This is like, so in this case, it's like we could implement actually how to call access control. So for example, like updating something, or let's say if you have a bank account, so you should be able to only read the data from your bank site website or make any transaction, but you should not be able to update any. You should not be able to. You can update your maybe transaction. Okay, like this is called like access control. Like if you are owner of this account, maybe you can only read. You can made a transaction, or if you made any transaction, you can made what is called update or edit this transaction. This is might be or cancel this transaction because you are the owner of this account, but you should not be alter any other information outside of your account. So this is nothing but access control. But if you are admin, might be you are able to see other user information because you are admin. And admin also should have like access control too. For example, like even you are admin, you shouldn't be see user password. So user password should be always encrypted. So you'll be learn actually guys like what does it mean encryption, decryption. I think there's a class for that. So there is a like what is called it's called like I think least privilege. So like yeah, admin also should not be get like all this kind of access. For example, if you want to reset a password, admin should not be able to share the direct password to you directly. Admin can send only the link, hey, reset your password, but he should not know you what is your password. System should be generate this password, just for example. Okay, so we are moving actually different direction, but anyway, there is a different class, I think. But here, if I go the next slide, in this case, the business objective of this achieving profit target override the risks of strategy. So what we discuss here, like business targets, actually they override, trying to override the risks, and they're what is called trying to achieve a profit, right? And we discuss also like how we can actually collaborate the business to make the profitable decision. Means like we are trying to here actually what is called uh, help business to run the business, but not block the business, but they need to secure their business. So in the next slide, you see that here, like pros and cons, like security team objective to secure the what is called security team objective to the feature due to the like due to its insecure. The here pros nothing but advantage. The business decide that cost of this potential breach of an isolated server, because there is an isolated server contains actually, remember, only username, password, and email address, not other information. So with no sensitive data, so would be a less potential what is less potential profit of this feature. Okay, so here what he is trying to say, like here business actually win, right? Business actually like business or like what does I mean like the business we're talking about, like so business wins versus like security. So here this feature actually insecure, like security, this is security team objectives, and business view actually the potential breach is limited, like isolated server, no sensitive information in this server, and profit potential is like higher than 20%, 25%, that we discuss. So here actually decision, like, business want to move forward, accepting this kind of like limited risks. But here, like in this slide and next slide, what we actually learn, what is our takeaway? This is the important things. Like security rules is like inform, mitigate, and the monitor, not always like, as I said, like blocking. And risks should be like qualified and managed. Even there is a risk, it should be like quantified and managed, and allowing the business to make informative decision. That's what we should learn here. Any question, guys, up to this slide? Then we'll be move forward in different topics. And this is important, your day-to-day life. So here, governance and compliance. Okay, after making this decision, the business update is security practice to account for the risks it has undertaken. Okay, and the regulatory confirm that everyone is following these rules. So it's nothing but actually talking about the governance and compliance. So they are making a decision, right? Remember, we discussed actually governance and compliance, making sure actually everybody following these rules. So we discussed a lot actually about this. They're making a decision, another team doing risk assessment, and this team making sure everybody. So you can think about this one, governance, think about like, okay, US government. If it is government organization like traffic department, police department. And the compliance is the police, they're making sure, okay, people are following traffic rules. Same thing in security, like the executive team could be implement people should be follow what is called scan their badge using strong password, whatever, and compliance team making sure, okay, you are using strong password. Once you enter the building, you are using or scan your badge, just for example. So now we have activity actually here.
Now I just sent this activity in your Slack live channel. Also, I sent this activity to Motion Bhai.
Yeah.
So just 10 minutes. Everyone finish the activity. Do you have any question about activity? After activity, we can discuss finally. So activity. This is the Chaudhry Amin Abdullah. Can you share your screen? You finish the activity.
Assalamualaikum भैया ভাই আমি আবার অ্যাড হচ্ছি ভাই আমার সেলফোনে ঢুকছিলাম তো আমি আবার ল্যাপটপ দিয়ে ঢুকতেছি জি
Do you have any question totally before activity? কোনো কোশ্চেন থাকলে করতে পারেন।
Yeah, that will help you guys in your activities if you have any doubt.
Moshad bhai, you received this activity?
Yeah, I got this activity.
Okay, fine. Yes, Habib bhai.
Yeah, so far I understand that each company has a different department, and different department has different roles, and we as a security, cybersecurity, how we should contribute to each department. That's the whole presentation was about. How we play a role as our IT department.
Yeah, Moshad bhai, you understand Habib question?
No, it's like his voice was not clear, but yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so far I understand is that obviously every company or a new company has a multiple department for whatever reason. So we as a cybersecurity, the whole presentation was how we will play a role in those departments and help them secure and make profit, basically, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true, actually. Yeah, and so in order to actually what is called implement or how to do their security, like if you think about like today class, for like GRC, so this is actually the framework actually will be guide you actually what you need to do, and based on this framework or guideline, right? It's a structure and list of guidelines, right? You can implement or guide the business how to secure their asset. Asset could be anything, so yeah, so
Do we
this
have to remember anything of this whole thing?
no, I mean, like, in security, like, or any like or anything, so I don't suggest anything like memorize or remember. You just need to understand the concept.
Yeah.
Once you understand the concept, yeah, I think that's enough, right? So if you read something and if you can understand, that's enough. But yeah, you don't need to memorize everything, just understand the concept.
All right, thanks.
Sure.
আচ্ছা ভাইয়া, তানভীর ভাইয়া, আমি কি স্ক্রিন শেয়ার করবো মানে?
Yeah, can you share your screen? And
জি
then
জি
you start this just activity,
জি
and
জি
10 minutes you finish this activity. Okay? And then we'll back again.
জি।
সবাই একটু আমিন চৌধুরী আমিনকে একটু হেল্প করেন অ্যাক্টিভিটিটা শেষ করার জন্য। আপনারা দ্রুত পড়ে অ্যাক্টিভিটিটা শেষ করেন।
আমি একটু 5 মিনিটের ব্রেক নিচ্ছি, থাকবে আপনি আপনি যদি থাকেন
হ্যাঁ,
এখানে।
শিওর।
ওকে।
আচ্ছা, ভাইয়া কেউ কি একটু স্টার্ট করবেন?
We are still in activity.
হ্যাঁ, আপনারা কি স্ক্রিন দেখতে পাচ্ছেন?
জি আমিন ভাই, কি করব?
কি বুঝলেন ভাইয়া? আমরা এটা কিভাবে অ্যাপ্রোচ করতে পারি প্রবলেমটা? ভাইয়া অনেক কিছু ইনস্ট্রাকশন এখানে দিয়েই দিছে, বাট কিছু সিকিউরিটি রেকমেন্ডেশনও দেওয়া আছে আর কি।
হ্যাঁ
মোস্টলি সিকিউরিটি রেকমেন্ডেশন গুলো
security. Okay, the security recommendation. So the director of the security suggested the implementing corporate VPN at the
প্রাইভেট
gateway. Okay, so every time someone try to access to the internal company network, VPN station request to determine the coming from the employee. Is coming from the employee. Okay, if it is requested is approved. Okay, since the company has a growth in 300 employees, the director argues that increase the critical and ensure the confidential information remain the hidden. Okay, the VPN project would be okay. Disadvantage network. And the director of the engineer suggested record all developers should use the secure shell. Okay. এটা কি ভাইয়া ওই কোয়েকশন দিয়ে দিছে, আনসার দিয়ে দিছে নাকি? হ্যাঁ তো
হ্যাঁ, এগুলো
হ্যাঁ
রেকমেন্ডেশন আর কি।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ মানে আপনার ওই যে বেস্ট অন লাইক সিনারিও মানে কি রিকমেন্ডেশন করবেন নাকি?
রাইট।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
এখন এটা হচ্ছে যে আপনার মনে করেন এখানে কিছু ভাইয়া কিছু ইনস্ট্রাকশন দিয়েছে যে মানে কি কি করলে মানে যে এমন সাজেশন দিতে যেগুলো আপনার
what is the lead?
জি
Okay, what is the lead to the approve of the reduce risks? Let's
এটা-
to improve. So ওই যে ইমপ্রুভ মানে
জি
সিকিউরিটিটা কিভাবে ইমপ্রুভ হবে, যেটা
ইমপ্রুভ করবো,
হ্যাঁ
রাইট।
রিডিউস রিস্ক করবে। তো ওই যে রিকমেন্ডেশন আছে বিপিএন ইউজ করা,
Yeah.
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ তা মাল্টিফ্যাক্টর আরো কি কি জানি ওই যে ওই রিকমেন্ড মানে ওই যে আবার ওই যে সিকিউর শেল ইউজ করা যেগুলা।
রাইট।
হ্যাঁ
জি
আপনারা তাহলে এক কাজ করবেন, আপনারা কি গ্রুপ স্টাডি করেন আপনাদের গ্রুপে, ওই যে মানে আউটসাইড অফ ক্লাস আই মিন?
হ্যাঁ মানে আমরা তো বেশি দিন হয় নাই।
সাইফুল ভাই, আপনি ইয়ে দিয়ে দিছি, আমি ওই যে আনসারটা আপনাকে দিয়ে দিছি, ওইটা অনুসারে আপনার শেষে আনসারটা আছে, ওইটা অনুসারে আপনি একটু ওনাকে হেল্প করেন।
সরি, আমি হঠাৎ করে লকড আউট হয়ে গেছিলাম। তো আমি যেটা বলতে চাচ্ছিলাম যে আমরা যে এই যে লিনাক্স প্র্যাকটিস করার জন্য যে আমরা যে সার্ভারে কানেক্টেড হই, এটা তো আমরা যে সিকিউর শেলের মধ্যে কানেক্টেড হই। সো আমাদের আইপি অ্যাড্রেস দিয়ে এটা সিকিউর করা, সো দ্যাট নোবডি এলস ক্যান ক্র্যাক, বিকজ আমাদের আইপি দিয়ে এটাকে সিকিউর করা আছে। সো এখানে তো আমাদের পাসওয়ার্ড লাগছে না। হ্যাঁ, সো ইজ ইট সামথিং সিমিলার টু দ্যাট? এটাই আর কি, জাস্ট বোঝার জন্য।
Okay, he lost actually first couple line sentence. Can you repeat by again?
আচ্ছা, আমি যেটা বলতে যাচ্ছিলাম যে আমি এই অ্যাক্টিভিটিটা পড়ে আমার কাছে যেটা মনে হলো, এটা আমরা যে লিনাক্সের ক্লাস যেটা করলাম, বা আমরা যে লিনাক্স যে মডিউলটা করলাম, আমরা যখন যে সার্ভারে আমরা যে কানেক্টেড হই, আমাদের
without
সবার
password.
হ্যাঁ সবার আইপি অ্যাড্রেস দিয়ে ইয়ে করা, এখানে কোনো পাসওয়ার্ড লাগে না। মানে পাসওয়ার্ড, কারণ যেহেতু পাসওয়ার্ড
Passwordless connection. হ্যাঁ
ক্র্যাক করার একটা পসিবিলিটি আছে। তো ওই জিনিসটাকে মানে মিটিগেট করার জন্য বা ওই জিনিসটাকে অ্যাবলিশ করার জন্য আমরা হচ্ছে গিয়ে ক্রিপ্টো কি দিয়ে আমরা সার্ভারে লগ ইন হই, সো দ্যাট আমরা যারা আমরা এই সার্ভারটা ইউজ করব সবাই প্রোটেক্টেড থাকবে, নোবডি এলস ক্যান মানে এখানে
Right. It depends on like scenario, right? If it is server, yeah, makes sense.
আমি আর কি
And
এই এই অ্যাক্টিভিটিটা পরে আমার কাছে এই জিনিসটা মনে হলো যে এটা কি সিমিলার টু দ্যাট অর নট, এটা আর কি।
okay. তারপরে আমি আসলে অ্যাক্টিভিটি ড্রেস পড়ি নাই, যে ব্রেকে গেছিলাম, বাট ওকে। রিকোয়ার ডেভেলপার টু, ওকে। সো আই থিঙ্ক ওই যে আনসারটা ভাইয়া দিয়ে দিছে আপনাদেরও, লুকস লাইক ওই যে রিকমেন্ডেশন যেগুলো, তারপরে আপনি অলরেডি শেয়ার করে দিচ্ছেন, ওইটাই আর কি। তারপরে কি আছে এখানে? তো আপনারা
আচ্ছা, আমি
জি
জাস্ট
জি
শেয়ার করতে চাই, সিকিউরিটি রিকমেন্ডেশনের আগে আমাদের তো বিজনেস প্ল্যান ফলো করতে হবে, রাইট?
রাইট
যে ওখানে ওরা কি চাইতেছে,
কি
what
চাইতেছে?
they really want.
হুম।
ফার্স্ট অফ অল, ওরা চাইতেছে না যে এই ধরনের আপনার ভিপিএন এর থ্রুতে ওরা অ্যাক্সেস নেক, ও ওপেন করে দিতে চাইতেছে সার্ভার,
ও তো সেই ক্ষেত্রে ওই যে ভাইয়া যেটা বললো ওই
একদম
যে,
ফার্স্ট লাইন।
আচ্ছা আমি আসলে পড়ি নাই, ফার্স্ট দেখি তাহলে। Okay, in this activity will be play a role as security consult instruction. Okay, whether it's lit, okay, whether
and help
security
as a কাস্ট কি এটা
to
বলছে যে
how work it will be take to implement the business plan. Okay, first line, the business wants to actually give all the developer to access the data. This is request was made by the director of engineer. They suggested that the free access would
access.
help team to move faster and then help manage cut off cost and depending. Okay, the director of IT of the make administrative server accessible from the public IP address and injected the corporate subnet. Okay, so এখানে বলতেছে ওই যে corporate subnet ইউজ করতে হবে। Typically corporate or company network are not publicly accessible. তো এটা একটা দিক হচ্ছে, যখন আপনি কোম্পানির ওয়েবসাইটে বা কোম্পানির নেটওয়ার্কে থাকবেন, আহ, আপনি নর্মালি দেখা গেছে কোনো যেগুলো হচ্ছে যে মানে উইথিন কোম্পানি সাবনেটের মধ্যে অ্যাক্সেসেবল, আপনি সবগুলোতে অ্যাক্সেস পেয়ে যাবেন উইথাউট আদার অথেন্টিকেশন, বিকজ ইউ আর অলরেডি গেট দ্য নেটওয়ার্ক অ্যাক্সেস। সো এটা এটা ডিপেন্ডস করে like আপনার কোন ধরনের অ্যাসেটে আপনি অ্যাক্সেস করতে চাচ্ছেন। সেক্ষেত্রে যেটা হয় রিয়েল টাইমে, ধরেন আপনাদের কোনো জিনিস হচ্ছে ওভারঅল সবাই ওন করে, আর কোনো জিনিস হচ্ছে লাইক আপনার স্পেসিফিক টিম ওন করে। তো দেখি আমরা রিকোয়ারমেন্টস গুলো কি বলছে এখানে। দ্য ডিরেক্টর অফ দ্য আইটি argues this allowing anyone access the machine of this company network with help their administrator may of whom work remotely to connect to the server and need to manage. Okay, they exit the features improve retention and hope to gain the increase in the number of the house and employees. Your new SOC analysis want to merge all the email address. Okay, blah blah. This is a lot of information. So এখানে যেটা সলিউশন আমরা দিতে পারি, আপনারা যদি রিকোয়ারমেন্টসটা পড়েন, দেখা গেছে ডিরেক্টর অফ ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং like here suggested all the developers should access all the data. তো এখানে যেটা হচ্ছে অ্যাডভান্টেজ, they can easily access, but ডিসঅ্যাডভান্টেজ হচ্ছে allow all developer to access the user data including sensitive personal information, what is called that has nothing to do with their job, right? The developer should not be like they can develop the product, but they should not be actually access user public in personal information. এটা হচ্ছে মানে আদার ডিসঅ্যাডভান্টেজ এটা। তো এখানে নাম্বার টু, এখানে যেটা হচ্ছে বিজনেস শুড রিজেক্ট on ground of the privacy. Okay, the director of IT suggested to explore it. So another concern is like the director of IT suggested the what is called exposing administration server to the public net. So এখানে যে প্রবলেমটা হচ্ছে, আমরা সুবিধাটা হচ্ছে administrative can work actually from any computer, but problem the server would not be publicly accessible, which is like unacceptable. If server would publicly accessible, it would be unacceptable of the private network because it's security risks. So we could recommend here actually the organization should reject this request, and a VPN should be better solution. So then like in this case we should be actually guide to use actually they should be used actually VPN. So I have actually this answer, it's long, but you guys can actually, is this like here you guys get maybe same answer, right? Yeah. So looks like you guys also got this answer, right? So I think you guys actually read actually like this can take actually like line by line, but looks like you need to actually what is called recommend actually what business supposed to be do. You got my point, guys?
I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. It just
No, there is not true right or wrong answer. So this is like the concept. It's not like oh like your yes and no. It's like a statement. That's true. There's no right and wrong. So we can move actually the other what is called. You guys can try to actually do like group study. So if you actually what is called read the lines 10 minutes, I feel like not enough. That's happened with our time too. Like you need actually more time to do your like research. But this is nothing but actually whatever actually we did like or we actually learned today. So from this actually our knowledge, we can actually make a decision here what is supposed to be do, what is supposed to be recommend. And I see that you guys already get this answer here, the solution recommendation, right? Secure recommendation. So same thing actually, Tanvi already shared with you. This is the answer. You already shared whatever I'm seeing in your screen. So let me share my screen. Actually, you guys can read. You guys already get this answer, looks like.
Okay,
So
bhai.
yeah, if you have any question, then you guys can reach. Either we cannot, it's almost 1 hour left. It looks like. Let me start next slide. Let me share my screen. Are you guys able to see my slide? Activity slide, right? Anybody can confirm? No?
Yes, we can see.
yes.
Oh, okay, perfect. So this is what actually you guys just actually doing. So next slide, let's see. Question. Okay, so it's a security culture. This is important. So we'll be discussing actually more here in security culture. So let's move on next slide. So here you see that the security culture, strong organization securely begins with the making secure employee, make sure employee is both means is considered this and this. So here consider security important and understand security implication of their decision. So in this slide, right, the security culture, it means like every employee should be treat like as I discussed earlier also, like security should be their part of daily day-to-day activities, day-to-day job. Every employee, they are responsible to manage or follow the company rules and regulation in order to maintain the security. For example, like if company trained you, hey, this is the how you can actually recognize is this phishing email or not. So you already learned from company or from the security team, but you don't care. You just click actually blindly any link or replied any link, right? So that means you are not maintaining security culture. Whatever company teach you or guide you, right? You should be, or whatever GRC define the rules and regulation, you should be follow, right? So you should not be thinking about, oh, security is not my concern. Security only like security team concern. Here we are talking about the culture. So culture is here. If you learn, as I said, like giving the previous example, if you know how to drive a car and you are using self-driving car and you are seeing the self-driving car or autopilot going to hit the other car, you should not really like be quiet. You should not be say, okay, it is autopilot, I don't care. If it is hit on other car, okay, hit. You should not be do that, right? You should be take a control right away if it is going to happen, right? Same thing, exactly same thing here, security culture. If you observe any suspicious activities, for example, like let's say, imagine like you are an employee and so you have access in your building and you access in your building and you observe there is a suspicious visitors in your building, inside the building. So you should be report, right? In the security, whoever the concerned person, you should not be actually ignored, right? So you should not be just rely on like security guard. Like you can think about, oh, if suspicious activities is not my responsibility, security guard should be taking care. So this means you are not maintaining security culture. If you see something, you should be raise your voice, you should be informed. So this is what like security culture. So everyone should be know their actually action effect, like you should be feel safe, right, in your office. So in order to feel safe in your office for you or for your colleagues, you should actually help to the concerning person by informing them, hey, there is a security risk, right? So like strong security is not like just about like tools and policy. So we're talking about the culture. So like you should not be only relying on like tools and policy. You should not be relying on like what is called only like self-driving car. Oh, okay, this car actually, what is called, there is a technology, it should be it should be able to do self-drive. So you should not be go to for sleep while you is driving in freeway, right? You should you should be monitored. So this is your job. Even like there is a what is called self-driving technology. So it is about like the culture, nothing but it's talking about like employee behavior, how will behave, like is so you and your behavior should be based on the company GRC policy, you know, and sometimes you should be use your common sense. So consider like security like what is called understanding the security implication, like how their action and how it can be like impact. So if you actually observe something, you should be understand, oh, if it is happen, what should be impact. If you click any suspicious link, for example, like you get a link and this looks like this is a suspicious link, right? And you should not click, but if you click, you should be know like what could be happen. You could be lose your data. An attacker can actually attack the company or your system, right? So this is culture, nothing but people behavior. How should we behave based on like in IT, you can think about like GRC policy, whatever we discussed earlier. Any question, guys, here? So same thing, like for example, like your company always guide you should be use strong password, but you don't care, you always use actually weak password. So you are not fit with the security culture in your company, right? Your company suggests you to verify the resource of the email and you are not doing actually. Let's say you get an email and you just blindly reply. You don't actually double check, is this email came from authentic source or not? And this is your job, right? This is your job to verify is this email is authentic or not before you actually replied or click, right? And your company, let's say every company, they what is called, they make a rule, you should not be share your credential or you should not be download any unverified software, but it does actually. Let's say you share your password with your other colleagues or you actually download, there is a malicious software in your system. So you're breaking actually company GRC policy. That means you're breaking the security culture, So in next slide, okay, here you see security, this is definition actually. Security culture is the way to member of the organization think about approach of security. A healthy security culture, think about it, has the employee who are the invest in this organization's security and behave securely. So healthy secure culture means you are maintaining your security. If you don't maintaining your GRC policy, that means your what is called environment will not be healthy security culture, right? So this is nothing but actually give you the what is called like theory. Any question is up to here? Then this is very important in real time, security culture. So here security culture actually is discuss about like three different things. So how important employee consider security? Like, is this like important in employee should consider the security before they're doing anything? Second question, like terms like how aware, like is this employee aware of this risk? Let's say, are you aware if you are click on a malicious link, what could be happened? Right. So it's talking about the awareness. This I'm talking about the important. If you don't consider security, what could be happen? So considering the security risk, how important it is, and the understanding the common security, are you aware of this, right? And then this one actually, like whether employee know how to actually avoid insecure behavior, how you could avoid, like how we should. So you should be know, you should be know how like as I said, like you as a, let's say, security team or security engineer, you should be guide your employee how they actually identify and avoid security behavior. Security behavior is not always like related with like tools and technology, as I said, right? If it is tools and technology, you should be guide on how to they use their tools and technology, and other things, something not related with like what is called always tools and technology. It's like behavior, how you should be actually behave. So this is actually like, so here three important things, guys, like important to considering the security and the awareness, like understanding the security risks, and here like behavior, saying that like your behavior is very important. So here like in this slide, what you learn actually, security culture just not a policy. It is not a policy, just not a policy, right? It's a how employee behave and think about security every day. This could be your not only like you think about your personal life, right? Like if someone actually call you and asking your personal data, you should not be just blindly given to them, right? You should be verify, oh, is this like authentic source, like the call you received from, right? So same thing, like same behavior, you should be think like your, for example, like your company, all this asset, it is, you should be think about it is your asset, and you are the responsible person to protect your company asset, and you should be follow this security culture, nothing but their rules and regulation. So the here important things is like, do the employee take security seriously or not, right? This is very important, and you should. And awareness, as I said here, like do the employee know the common issue like phishing email, social engineering, malware attack, and the behavior. Third one, I'm repeating again, do the employee know how to act securely to avoid the risks? So you should know how to behave, right, to avoid the security risks. So if I give you the like what is called non-technical example here, right? So let's say employee always lock the door, right? So if you always lock the door, and if you don't share with your ID with the other colleagues or others, or if you report suspicious visitors, as long as you see something, so then what is called, you are actually following the security culture, right? So technical example, if I can repeat again, like employee should like here, employee should know like how to recognize the phishing email, and they always should be use like, for example, like strong password, like how they should be behave, for example, okay, using strong password, and don't install any unverified software, and don't break the GRC policy, nothing but this is what like security culture you can think about. So next slide, a healthy security culture required a what is called moving employee to value security and the train them on how to avoid the security behavior, right? So you as a security engineer should be actually train your employee actually how should they behave. That's what we discuss actually. Any question, guys, up to here in security culture? I think we discuss a lot. So if not, actually here the security culture framework steps, right? So so in this case, like it's talking about, like, there's a 5 steps for the security culture, like measure the goals, and then innovate the right people, involve the right people, create a action plan, execute a plan, and measure the change. So we'll be learn actually all 5 steps in the next slide. So here's the definition of security culture. Actually, identify the problems in the organization, secure culture, and then develop a plan to solve them. Okay, so let me actually go to the next slide in order to understand actually all these 5 steps. Applying this framework. Okay, so this framework is talking about this framework, nothing but these 5 steps. So employees receiving an email to their work account from the external source. Employee are clicking and downloading the attached email. Okay, we discussed actually all these things. The organization security team determine them determine that many of this link and attachment contains malware. So we'll be discussing, like we already discussed these things, but we'll discuss more actually in order to get this clear. So let's move forward actually. The first one here. So this is nothing but so you see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we will be going to say one by one. 1, 2, here you see that all these 5. So this is first number 1, security management. Like, so how we actually measure the goals. So here, like, higher penetration testing. This is what is called the example for one approach. Could be a multiple approach. So here we are taking an example, whatever in the slide. So it's saying that, like, hiring a penetration testing firm, beginning a phishing campaign, like phishing email campaign that will send phishing email. It will be sent phishing email like intentionally to the user of this company, and this firm will be keep track the user, how many user actually following this phishing, because they want to measure actually, like employee behavior. Is this employee fit with security culture or not? So they make a plan actually here, this third-party penetration testing team, to send an email to every employee and verify how many user click this link. Means like fall in this phishing email. Nothing but you did click. So the one way first step to is the measuring and get the goals. Because if you don't know your measurement, you can't set a goal, right? That's all. Like everybody actually following what is called this rules, and so rules, like there is no, like, what is called like everybody is aware of that. So in this case, so like looks like everybody knows actually what to do. But let's say, you're on the other side of this coin. Let's say, nobody actually knows how to recognize the phishing email. So based on actually, let's say, 100% like success or 100% fail, you can set your goal, right? So measurement a goal, let's say here, they set a goal like let's set a click rate. Like click rate means like penetration testing firm will be send a phishing email, right, to every user. So once they set a phishing email, every user is saying that they set a goal 5%. When a 5% user could be like click this link, like measure this data to determine what percentage of employee victim of this phishing and who is employees specifically. So if they send actually this email to the every employee, they'll be identified, like their goal is actually 5%, but they want to actually identify how many person actually click this link, like victim, and who is actually click this link thing. So why they need that actually? So this will be help you, like how many person click this link, they will be get an idea like how many percentage of employee from this company actually don't know this kind of like phishing attack. And once they actually identify who actually click this link, let's say there's a 5%, and they knows this employee, they can train this employee because they don't know, right? So the first one, actually, they are actually collecting the metrics. And next slide, here, involve the right people. So inform the at least a CEO and CIO, actually, and HR, and the what is called the person, and the person in charge of this internal training and communication, because you cannot actually send like phishing email for training purpose or something without like informing, let's say, GRC. You should be inform the GRC team, hey, we are going to do that. Or you should be inform the like GRC means like, remember, like governance is involved by higher top management, right? CIO, HO. So other so you should be informed also like the top management, like executive team. You should be GRC, hey, we are going to perform this kind of operation. Who is performing like third-party penetration testing? So second one, they set up a goal and then they inform the company or GRC team. And then second one, create an action plan. So this one. So develop a training, cover danger of this malware and how malware can spread through the phishing and phishing. So phishing and phishing to cybersecurity term. So once you actually what is called get this measurement, and then they inform, and then after that they create an action plan. Once they get this metrics, what they do with this metrics, right? So the metrics, what you're supposed to be do. And the fourth one, like execution plan. So once they create a, okay, what they do, and then they need to execute, right? So execute means their action plan they need to execute. So here they implement the training with the goal of like 20% employee of each quarter. This quarter 20%, next quarter 20%, next quarter 20%. In 1 year, 100% team members should be trained up. So that's their goal. They set up a goal, they inform, then create action plan, and then they take in action, like execution. And then last, you see that the last steps here, measure the change. So determine success or failure. So initially their target was 5%, let's say. And here you see the step one, they are actually measuring again against this metrics. So in this, like, this is what is called security culture framework, right? So we are talking about security culture framework. These are first 5 steps. The first step, measuring the goal and identify the goal, then informed, and create an action plan, then execute the action, and then compare the result between this and this to determine is this pass or fail, right? So this is like self-explanatory. We don't need to like how actually you can make a plan, right? It could be like this kind of what's called framework you can build for anything, right? How you can actually proceed. So there is the activity for 15 minutes, and then I think break for security culture. Tamrir Bhai is here. Any question, guys? I need to wait for Tamrir Bhai. If you guys have any question. So security culture.
So security culture, by whatever I understood, basically means as we as employee, how we should follow them.
আমি শেয়ার করতেছি আপনার ইয়েটা।
Okay. Right. So as a security, how is it called? Security culture means like you should not be think about like, oh, my technology will be protecting me. You should not be think about my car technology will be protect me from accident, right? The culture is here, like you should be help your technology. You should be support your technology, or you should be support the GRC team in order to implement, or in order to what is called achieve your goal or company, like whatever the what is called objectives. Like if you don't care, like you just actually say, oh, okay, this is not my responsibility, this is security guard responsibility, that means you are not culturally fit. So you should be follow the security culture and think about like security is everybody responsibility. So if you don't know how to actually fix or solve this issue, but you can report and you can actually what is called try to save your system. For example, like, you should not be what is called open your door. Let's say you set up a security camera in your home. So you should not be unlock your door and say, okay, my camera is there, I don't care. Let's keep open my door for all like 24/7. And you should not be do that, right? Even you have a technology. So same thing here, like similar concept, like security culture. So you should be follow company rules and regulation. You should be apply your common sense, and you should try to protect your asset. That is not a company asset. So Tanvir bhai already shared this activity. Tanvir bhai,
Ji.
I want to drop my wife in my brother-in-law house.
Okay, no problem. Okay,
So
I'm just continuing.
yeah,
Okay, thank you
yeah.
very much.
So I'll be back actually after 30 minutes. So they have activities, and then after that, I see that they have a 15 minutes break. You know.
Okay.
So once I back, I'll be rejoin.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. See you then again soon.
Who continues this activity? So, Shahriar bhai, please proceed on your share your screen and
হারুন ভাই, আমাকে শোনা যাচ্ছে?
হ্যাঁ আপনারা একটা শেয়ার স্ক্রিন করেন এবং অ্যাক্টিভিটি
ইন্টারনেট একটু ডিস্টার্ব করতেছে, কেন করছে আমি ঠিক বুঝতেছি না। আম, আম, বারবার আমি লগ আউট হয়ে যাচ্ছি। আমি একটু প্রবলেমটাকে একটু রিজলভ করার চেষ্টা করতেছি। অন্য কাউকে যদি একটু
আচ্ছা ওবায়দুর রহমান ভাই প্লিজ শেয়ার ইউর স্ক্রিন
Okay. দেখা যায়? দেখা যাচ্ছে?
জি, দেখা যায়।
হ্যাঁ ভাই, দেখা যাচ্ছে, অসুবিধা নেই।
আপনারা পড়েন, একজন পড়ে এটা সলিউশন করার চেষ্টা করেন। এটা কি বুঝতেছেন আপনারা এটা অ্যাক্টিভিটিটা?
এখানে বলা in this exercise you will play the role of a security consultant who's been contracted to help a local bank develop a plan to address a physical security issue that recently resulted in the breach of its financial data servers. Refer to this memo from the executive team.
So I think whatever we have understood from here, there was a culture that while entering the building, there was a culture that to help the next individual or the next colleague, they used to punch their card and allow him to get inside of the building. So this was a security breach, and as there are 500 employees, so if everybody follow this culture, helping another person without scanning his badge, so maybe outsider is getting inside to the building and making a security breach. So we can, for mitigating this issue, the culture can be like nobody is allowed to scan in favor of another person. So every individual should scan their own badge and get inside the building. So the security should be ensuring that every individual is scanning their badge and getting inside. Nobody is allowed to get inside without scanning their badge. So that can be one major security risks to comply. Did you get me? ভাই আমার কথাটা কি বোঝা যাচ্ছে? হ্যালো?
হ্যাঁ, বোঝা যাচ্ছে ভাইয়া।
হ্যাঁ, বোঝা যাচ্ছে, বোঝা যাচ্ছে, বোঝা যাচ্ছে।
সেকেন্ড যেটা বলেছে যে সেকেন্ড যে অপশনটা যে ডিসক্রাইব a method for finding out how many people encourage tailgating and keeping track of those who do.
মানে এখানে বলতে চাচ্ছে যে মনে হয় এক্সট্রা সিকিউরিটি মানে ওই ঢোকার মধ্যে সিকিউরিটি গার্ড এক্সট্রা হয়তো ঢোকানো হয়েছে তো মানে এনশিওর যে সবাই ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালি কার্ড পাঞ্চ করে বিল্ডিং এ ঢুকছে, এটা আর কি এনশিওর করা। মানে এটা মানে তাকে মানে স্পেসিফিক্যালি ইনস্ট্রাকশন দেওয়া যে কেউ যেন কার্ড পাঞ্চ ছাড়া ভিতরে যেন কেউ না ঢুকে, এরকম আর কি। এটাই তো বোঝা যাচ্ছে, রাইট?
Oh, hi guys. Oh yeah, my son is sleeping actually, so I'm going to drop them after 30 minutes. Is Tanvi Bhai here? No.
We're doing the activities right now, but we're all here.
Yeah, I'm saying actually. Uh, s- so how far you are guys? The activity. And this activity part one. Will rule a security in the concept local bank developer the plan address and physical security that recently is called in the branch and the financial data server. Taken a scenario, yeah, there is a scenario actually. It's explained the employee has been observe a hold the door of the others behind when accessing a building, and without each employee scanning there. So looks like employee actually here, what is called helping or like giving the privilege to each other to access in the building without what is called badge, right? So you need to actually, in order to prevent, you need to actually create a action plan and how to actually, I think, prevent this one.
Yeah, so the instructions is something like that. We have to identify or plan 3 potential solutions
Yeah.
for this problem. So one of the solution can be that while accessing the building, everybody it will be ensured that everybody is scanning their own badge.
Right.
Nobody is scanning their helping another person to get inside the building. So if anybody is entering the building, he has to scan his badge.
Right.
And there should be a system that anybody is not scanning going inside the building, there will be alarm system that hey, this person is getting
Oh
inside.
yeah, I think this is the wonderful, the alarm system, like monitoring something, like this person actually not maintaining. So you can actually later take an action or train him actually, oh, you should be scanned like this,
Or biometric, like a fingerprint.
Right. So I think you guys are got it. Yeah. There is no 100% right or wrong answer, right? There could be like different solution, but whatever you guys are bringing, I like that. And the answer it may be like whatever the recommended answer, like if there Tanvir will be shared along with the other, if there any other alternative option too. So let me share my screen and then do you guys need break, or I think the class will be over within 30 minutes if I continue now. What do you think?
Then probably we don't need break.
Yeah, just finish it off.
Okay. So let me share my screen again.
Okay, আমি বের হয়ে যাচ্ছি।
Yeah, sure. Okay, so let me share. Are you guys able to see my screen here? 15 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
we discuss about like security culture, right? And that's what we're actually discussing here. And we need to actually like encourage like what is called whatever the activities like the employee. Let's say there is a awareness training or why they need to actually scan their badge. Is there for their own security, like or protecting their asset, like train up for awareness. There could be another action plan. But let's move forward actually. What is called next topic, security culture framework action plan. Okay, so action plan, whatever you are doing here, the activities, there is the next topics looks like related with this. Employee receiving an email to their work account from external resource. Okay, and then employee are clicking the link and download the attaching email, recognize. Okay, this is like previously we discussed actually, like back to the security scenario. So let's go through the context again and coordinate with each other team member. Okay, let's see. So the first steps here actually security culture framework steps. So the security culture that's what we discussed actually earlier. He missed assess their impact to the phishing email incidents in the risks and post by the future campaign. Okay, and then here there's a 3 terms in this inclusion. Okay, the assessment, like assessment, remember there is a 5 steps. First steps of the assessment, right? So here assessment of the demand done by the previous phishing incidents, because they send out a intentionally malicious email, remember, and then they are doing assessment, and then using a what is called penetration phishing attack to show how many employee actually download malicious file, like also like 10% click this rate, meaning 10% employee download malicious link. Like they send intentionally the malicious link, and to make sure actually identify the metrics, how many person actually click this link, and then they what is called targeted, they're setting a target click through rate. The team might be decided that 5% click through the rate acceptable. Okay, so that's how to actually discuss. First actually identify what is called phishing, like intentionally doing phishing incidents, and then identify how many person actually this click this link, and then what you can do, maybe we can actually train them this actually whatever click this link. So if I go to actually here the steps, actually next steps, what they're doing once they get actually this metrics, it is SCF team member, in this case actually HR manager, meet with this, like here security information, I forgot this term, like executive, to explain that the previous phishing attack, like whatever they get metrics, they explain the phishing attacks was successful because of 8% employee downloaded unknown like file from unknown email address. So they identify, okay, they're successful. If nobody actually click this what is called phishing email, so that means okay, they're not successful in this what is proxy attack, right? Because it was proxy attack, right? Remember, intentionally. So they said actually 10% employee actually click this link. So that's actually they discuss with their executive, and they request for a budget. They said, hey, we request for budget career to plan to bring us like 5% down because they require for budget for what? I think it's for actually train the employee to down rate from 10% to 15%. So they actually discuss, or maybe let's say you as a security team member discuss with the top management team, hey, we need actually train to the employee so we can actually reduce 50% attack. Just for example, right? And then here the next steps actually, like what is taking action, like here security culture, same framework we are talking about, and then CFO team member develop a training plan, because if budget is approved, they develop a training plan and for security awareness, and this will be only delivered to the employee who click this malicious link after this training. So they what is called, they make actually plan here, you see that, right? How they do actually, they actually send to the employee to the training, and then also this plan will be only be delivered to the employee who continue click this malicious link after this training. That's what we discussed actually already, but here how they actually proceed, next steps it will be clear, these steps will be get here. So after developing this training plan, is talking about this training plan, we discuss in this slide and next slide, our last slide. After developing the training plan, actually team decided intensive and disintensive, like this will be awarded based on how many employee actually what is called behave during penetration test security audit. Okay, so it's nothing but still telling you, like now after this security training, actually how many employee actually fall in this track to click this link, like the link actually they shared to get this the metrics. So they actually decide a business plan. They'll be give the intensive like $50 gift card or free discount if they don't actually, if they don't click, actually nothing but is saying that here discontinue security like conference attendance and the additional vacation time. Okay, free or discontinue security conference attend, discounted security conference attend. Okay, and then disintensive supplementary security. So here actually they will be give you actually what is called $50 gift card or discounts, like whoever actually security conference attendance, whoever actually attended this training, and the additional vacation time. Okay, so it's like an intensive, like $50 gift card or vacation time or something like PTO to encourage the employee, right? Intensive, nothing but encourage the employee to follow this actually security culture. But if you don't follow, if you are failed, they said this intensive means they will be send you say there is supplement security awareness training. They will be send you again for training. Say you are not able to follow this culture, go for again training. That's what is happening all the time, real time. So let's say they actually send out a training something, and after training there will be a quiz. If you win the quiz, okay, you're done. If you're failed in this quiz, like whatever you learn, they'll be say, okay, go for again for another training, supplement additional training here. There'll be supplement. So for example, like once I actually get my first time, like what is called full traffic ticket. So they give me a ticket for whatever reason, and and I failed because of EL in EL sign. Actually, I failed to stop, and I get a ticket, and they say, hey, you need to go for there's a school, driving school for training in order to remove your points. Same thing, similar thing exactly happened. Like if you employee, like you get a training, and after training, actually you still clicking actually, uh, the malicious link. So in this case, you will be get a disincentive for clicking link. Like you should be go for training. Like this is like business plan. Like if someone actually passed, okay, give them gift card or something. If failed, send them again for training. So security culture first step here. So here, like is during this meeting, actually HR explained the most reliable way to secure 100% attendance. They're trying to compare 100% over the next fiscal year, and training 20% of this employee each time. So let's Tara, what they're trying to do actually, like the next year they're trying to 4 quarter, right, each year. So they were planning to do like 100% employees should be trained up, and each quarter 20%. It's talking about like how they actually approach to address this issue. And then here, so we collaborate with the communication developer to contribute the information of the training. They actually collaborate with the communication developer to distribute information about the training. Okay, the training information like catalog distribution of the training. And then step 7 actually is set up and implement training schedule. So they're meant, okay, like distributing the training module and then scheduling training. And security culture steps the same pen. Okay, so in these steps, actually after this training, actually every quarter, like SEF actually team conducted same penetration testing from to verify their metrics again, because all employees already trained up, let's say 100%, but they want to make sure actually is this like everybody following what is called now aware of this all the security culture or not. So they actually conducting again same kind of penetration testing like proxy email. And second one, actually after every test, actually SCF actually team is identify employee who is actually click this link. Again, they're trying to identify and record supplemental security awareness. That's we discuss actually. If they fall or if they click actually even after training, there will be supplement additional security awareness training. This is nothing but business plan, how they actually mitigate or how they actually what is called taken action to train up or their employee so that they can fit with the culture. This is like business plan. Security culture steps actually of this training, the phishing email. That's what we discuss actually. Like after this campaign, they will be running phishing email campaign again to evaluate overall the training. And this time actually they find, let's say 5% lower compared to other. It's not a business plan. So what's the action plan here? What's the action plan? Okay, so when will be the plan will executed? When you will be measure the progress, and how you will be quantify the progress? So I'm not reading, I'm just explaining here. When will be plan will be executed, right? So plan will be executed once 100% employee trained up, right? Remember that set a goal, 20% each quarter. So end of this year, 100%. So if it 100%, then mean plan is done. Like plan is executed, not done, like executed. And then after executed, like all 100% employee trained, then you need to measurement, right? So they'll be, in order to measure, actually, they are doing again phishing campaign to make sure, okay, they learn actually from this training or not. And then once they get actually run this phishing campaign again, they can measure actually their success rate. Is this reduced like 10% to 5% or not, right? So is there looks like if it is 5%, looks like they are not 100% success, but they are 50% success, right? 5%. It's like action plan. So this activity will be do later maybe. Let me finish and then the similar will ask Tanvir Bhai. There is almost done. So we'll be back in 59
Okay,
slide later.
I can share this activity.
Okay, can I proceed maybe with this or wait for activities, Tanvir Bhai, or you can share? Let me proceed. I have a class actually 12 or 12:30. That's why.
Oh, okay. So you
So,
proceed on.
okay, so yeah, then we can do maybe activity later. So security control, I think next, yeah, this is very important. Security controls. What does mean by security control? Okay, give me 1 second, guys. Let me message my teacher, maybe 5 minutes late, 10 minutes. Okay, so security control here, in addition to improving the security culture over the long term, the security team should be enforce security controls. You know, so what does it mean security controls? Will be learn actually next slide. A security control, this is the definition. A security control is any system, process, or technology that protect confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Remember, we discussed actually CIA. CIA using like CIA tried is called the terms confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So we'll be learn actually in next steps more. So here security controls types. But before that, if I actually high level overview, maybe there is a different class for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality means like what is called secure, like let's say like confidential data always should be like maintain a like let's say strong secret. Let's say like you should not be accessed in other personal information. The data should be confidential. Your data or other person data. Integrity, nothing but data should not be altered or changed. Whatever data. And availability means like data should be available for the user when they need. So this is like, but we'll learn actually later in details. But here, this controls actually is discussable with 3 types of controls. One is administrative, tactical, and physical. So you see that here, like required employee to follow their training guidelines. It's like administrative action, like management. Tactical, like technical example, required developer to use secure shell, just for example, or required developer to implement multi-factor authentication, like technical side. And physical, like protecting building by accessing like it's a key card or other person, like remember, or fingerprint, right? Like physical access. So in this slide, actually nothing but what is called referring, like remember, like previous is called like CIA, right? Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So it means actually any system, process, or technology, like must be protects confidentiality, integrity, and availability of a resource or of a or for a asset. The purpose actually reduce the risks and protect asset from the threat. That's the main intention, right? The save your asset from the threat or attacker. So here, like you see the like administrative. So administrative controls, like what administrative they does actually, like they set up like procedures, policies, training that guide the people. There's their responsibility, right? Set up a policy, training, and they guide the people. Like for example, employee must complete cybersecurity awareness training before what is called accessing company system. If you don't know how to use system, you should not be access this what is called system. So you should be learn. That's what like there will like security awareness. For example, like if you don't know how to drive, you should not be go what is called sitting in the driver's seat. You should be know how to drive and then sit on the driver's seat. Technical things like here. So this is technical solution must be like a developer must be like as I said, like what is called implement secure shell password to ensuring the secure authentication, right? And same thing like easy example here we already discussed. So in this slide, the security controls can have different goals. Like why you need security controls? So previous topics was security culture. We are now talking about security controls. And security controls, nothing but there is a 3 core things we already pointing out, like CIA. Remember, guys, very important. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Right. So here the first one actually preventive controls. So it's like differentiate the what is called define 5 different controls. One is preventive, another is deterrence, and then detective, and then corrective, and then compensation controls. Okay, so what does it mean here? Like preventive action, right? This is the access to the technique. So like for example, so here prevent action access with physical or tactical barriers, like access using keycard. For example, like preventive action means like you should be stop incident before it's happened, right? Like this is preventive, like you are taking action before it's happened. So for example, like keycard access prevent unauthorized access. So you are actually taking an action before it's happened. And then deterrent control here, like discourage. This is mean like discourage the attacker for attempting to access the resource. For example, like how we can discourage attacker, right? And how we can encourage attacker to attack. So here is talking about discourage attacker. Like let's say you set up a security camera, right? So and once someone like for example home security camera, once someone actually appear in this camera, say, hey, you are under in camera or something like this. So if it is threat like attack or someone, like they'll say, oh my god, camera is on. So it will be discourage the attacker, right? Hey, okay, he don't want to attack because he knows there is a monitoring going on. So if you don't have any monitoring in your system, right? So attacker says, oh, there is no monitoring, he will be encouraged to attack. If you don't have any like what is called like strong security policy, like let's say your door is open. So attacker can actually enter your room and steal like your valuable stuffs because you encouraging the attack. Okay, come to my home and steal my stuffs. So you should be discouraged. How you can discourage? You should be close your door, right? Same thing. You should be in cybersecurity. You should be implement strong security. You should be implement monitoring policy that will be actually discourage attacker to attack, because attacker is not like always what is called. If attacker knows, okay, this company always maintaining what is called strong security policy. Let's say like Kaspersky or whatever, like they're working for security, right? The security company. So attacker knows, okay, security company, they are expert on this, right? So they are not trying to actually attack security, because let's say there is other what is called mid-level company, they are grown and they don't have like maintaining any security policy, because there is a lot of things actually how they can determine they're maintaining strong security or not. You guys can learn in practical class, like how attacker actually run a, let's say, Nmap or Zenmap to identify the loopholes or identify the open port so they can attack. So they know actually how to identify the vulnerabilities. If attacker don't find any vulnerabilities, it will be discourage attacker to attack this system, right? Because he can't find any vulnerabilities. If there is a vulnerabilities available, it will be encourage attacker. So it should be discouraged. And detective, nothing but actually here, you should be apply the what is called alerting system or right monitoring system if something actually happening. And then like corrective action, let's say fix the problem. Like if it is happening something, right, you should be actually able to fix the problem. You should be, let's say you are using outdated software, you should be update your software, right? As long as it's available. Let's say you're using a known what is called vulnerable software, because there's a lot of software out there and it's known vulnerability and fix is not available. Let's say there's a software you are using, your system is using, but you need this software and you know there is a vulnerability out there. And tomorrow they actually release their updated version to with fixed version. So what your responsibility? You should be update this software with in order to remediate this vulnerability. You should not be use like old software. There's actually always it's called like patch management or like software patch. You'll be hear this term in real time. And compensation control, nothing but restore the function that compromise the system, right? So using like temporary, let's say, how you can restore, let's say your server is down, right? Or there is a DDoS attack. So you should be a plan here, right? How, like, let's say you can implement like temporary firewalls or like backup your system to maintain your service. If it is let's say one server is compromised, you should be have another backup server that can run your business. So we'll be discussed actually later class. So for example, if I go to okay, so here more secure tools yeah. So next, okay, coming lecture will be learn actually more this how you can actually determine, but let's move on this slide. So here more security controls in this unit. So here is regardless of their types, actually all security controls seek to restrain or respond to the access of the resource. The following access control determine who can access specific resource, like Linux file permission. For example, like Linux file is talking about like access control. About the access control, like file permission act as the access control, preventing user from modified file they don't own. Like as I gave you like other example earlier. So if you don't own any like what is called any asset, you should not be able to actually modify it or update anything because you are not owner of this. So this is like one example. Same thing here for network, like firewalls control access to the network, right? And like incident response monitoring system, we already discussed actually those things. So for example, like network, like firewall control and access to the network, you as a company employee, like everybody like should not be accessing your company network. Only employee should be accessing the network, company network, because there's a lot of things in company employee can access without password as long as they can access their network. So this is the example, like you should be actually what is called manage the access control, who can access your network, who can access your file system, for example, like Linux. And if something happened, you should have like incident response, like monitoring system. So secure control check learning. Learning the security control is the fundamental aspect of the secure design framework, defense in depth. So this is very important, guys. Like here, we're going to discuss actually like what is called how we can defense in depth, like how we can implement a security like in multiple layer, right? If one layer is failed, how can implement, like let's say plan A, plan B, plan C. You should have multiple plan actually to what is called save your system. This is nothing but it's called like defense in depth. We'll be learn in next slide. So this is the definition. Defense in depth is a practice of using multiple defense to secure a resource. For example, let's say you have a home and you have a lock in home, but you have a gate before you enter the room, and then gate has a lock. Like you have a multiple layer of security for your home, and you have a security camera in your home. So like multiple layer security. But we'll discuss about like what is called in technical terms. For example, here defense in depth is talking about technical controls, and then tactical controls and procedures control. Okay, hiding the server behind the firewall. This is one example. Firewall. So firewall can protect it. This is like first first defense like firewall to protect your server. Another technical thing like forcing user to authentic. So authentic user, let's say even there is a firewall, if firewall is failed, user should not be what is called access your server like without authentication. So if firewall is failed, this should be protect your server, like authentication or access key, like whatever, like a password or keyless, passwordless access, like it's called like SSH. So defense in depth, nothing but multiple layer of security. If first layer is failed, second layer should be active to protect you. If second layer is failed, third layer should be protective, like multiple layer security. Here, first layer firewall, then second one like authentication, and here you see the required user to generate a new key with new strong password. So there's another one like user should be use strong password, or is saying that every quarter and change the password every quarter, right? So multiple layer security, think about. This is nothing but defense in depth. If firewall is failed, this should be protect. If you, and let's say this is also fail, you somehow actually your password somehow user actually hacked, but you change your password here, right? Because you are doing every other what is called quarter, you are changing your password. So even your password is hacked here, let's say somehow, but let's say like same day like you reset your password here, right? Like every quarter. So in this case, like, there's another like, oh, even password is hacked, like your old password may be hacked, but you change your password, like multiple layer security. So there's another best practice. You should not be use your same password for your lifetime, right? You should be change it, you know. So this is nothing but actually redundancy and single point of failure. Means single point of failure. Means if you have, I'm just explaining this slide. If you have like one single point of defense, and if it is failed, that means your entire system will be compromised, right? So that means like single point of failure should not be break your entire system. You should have, you see that in the slide, like security layer 1, security layer 2, security layer 3. So if you have multiple security layer, if the first layer is failed, second layer will be protective. Second layer is failed, third layer will be protective. But if you have one layer security, in this case, if it is failed, so you will be lost everything. Okay, so oh, looks like okay. Let me clear this one here for what else we have. Now looks like it's almost going to over 781, but we have only actually looking forward. Okay, so governance like last ones, but we have activity. But last one is talking about this slide. What learned we today? Prepare us to learn about the governance later this week. So it's governance definition. Remember, we actually discussed this with the first slide. Government is the portion of the GRC framework, like G means governments, used or enforce the security standard, policies, and procedures, right? So government's nothing but just rephrase, ensuring the organization follow the security standard, policy and setting the rules, responsibility, and the oversight to make sure everybody actually following this standard. So like government's nothing but actually tell you what must be done and who is the responsible for this. So I think, yeah, today class is over, guys. If you guys have any question, either only activities left.
Okay,
Any
so
question?
do you have any question? So thank you, Saiful Murshid bhai, for your class. So inshallah, we'll take care of everything.
Yeah.
Thank you for your cooperation and help.
So not, thank you, guys. See you then. Maybe next time. Assalamu alaikum. Bye bye.
আসসালাম। হ্যাঁ, আপনাদের কোনো কোশ্চেন আছে? আপনাদের কেমন লাগলো ক্লাস? এটা ফেয়ার কমেন্টস। শাহরিয়া সোমান।
আচ্ছা ভাইয়া, পুরা ক্লাসটা শুনলাম। আমার কাছে যেটা মানে এটা আমার আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং, বাকিদের ক্ষেত্রে এটা ডিফারেন্ট হতে পারে। আমার কাছে যেটা মনে হলো যে আমরা এই গভর্নেন্স রিস্ক কমপ্লায়েন্স মানে জিআরসি নিয়ে আলোচনা করলাম। সো এখানে আমার কাছে যেটা মনে হলো যে ফিজিক্যাল কন্ট্রোল, আমি আর কি ফিজিক্যাল কন্ট্রোলের ব্যাপারটাতে মোটামুটি ক্লিয়ার হয়েছে যে আপনার ডিফারেন্ট অ্যাক্টিভিটিস গুলো ছিল। ফিজিক্যাল সিকিউরিটিটা মানে এনশিওর করা, যে মানে বিল্ডিং এ ঢোকার সময় সিকিউরিটি চেক এনশিওর, এই একটা জিনিস বুঝলাম। বাট আমার কাছে মনে হলো যে বিভিন্ন যে সিকিউরিটি কন্ট্রোলস যেগুলো আছে, মানে আপনার মানে টেকনিক্যাল সাইডটা, ওটা সম্পর্কে যদি একটু ধারণা পাওয়া যেত। মানে মানে গভর্নেন্স তো হচ্ছে গিয়ে সবকিছু, মানে ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল সিকিউরিটি প্লাস হচ্ছে গিয়ে সার্ভারের সিকিউরিটি, ইমেল সিকিউরিটি, মানে সবকিছু মিলে এই ধারণাটা একটু যদি দিতেন।
তো আজকে তো ক্লাস কালকে আমরা আবার শুরু করব। কালে মোর এখানে 3টা ক্লাস আছে। একটা ক্লাস শেষ হয়েছে। আমরা গভর্নেন্স নিয়ে আলোচনা করব, রিস্ক নিয়ে আলোচনা করব, কমপ্লেক্স নিয়ে আলোচনা করব। সো নেক্সট ক্লাস আমি নিব। সো কালকে ধরেন যে আপনার 5টা থেকে ক্লাস আর কি। তো যদি আপনাদের আচ্ছা অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট নিয়ে কথা আছে কোনো? ফার্স্ট অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট আপনাদের লিনাক্সের ফার্স্ট অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট
Tomorrow জিজ্ঞেস করো।
জি বলেন।
So we'll ask tomorrow. I mean, I will ask tomorrow.
Ayub bhai, we problem hearing your voice.
আমি কালকে প্রশ্ন করবো ভাইয়া, আজকে already
ওকে, সো কালকে আমি আজকে ক্লাস শেষ করি। 3 আওয়ার্স হয়ে গেছে। ইনশাল্লাহ কালকে 5টা বাজে আমরা এই ক্লাসও যদি না বুঝেন কিছু আমরা একটু রিপিট করব, আর যদি না হলে আমরা নেক্সট ক্লাস শুরু করবো ইনশাল্লাহ। সো এইভাবে করে আমরা আস্তে আস্তে করে আমাদের ফার্স্ট ব্যাচ থেকে কিছু শুরু করব, সেকেন্ড ব্যাচ থেকে করব, থার্ড ব্যাচ, মানে এইভাবে করে করে একটা টিম ওয়ার্ক তৈরি করতেছি আর কি। হ্যাঁ, দেখা যাক কি হয়, আল্লাহ কতটুকু কবুল করে। সো যেন আহ, সবাই মিলে একটা আহ, ভালো একটা পজিশন আমরা তৈরি করতে পারি ইনশাল্লাহ। এবং ধরেন যে 100 জন যদি আমাদের এই টিমে অ্যাড হয়ে যায়, তো 100 জনের ক্ষেত্রে থেকে ধরেন যে 20 জন থাকবে সুপার, আর 20 জন থাকবে গুড, আর 60 জন থাকে এভারেজ। সবাই মানে বিশাল একটা নেটওয়ার্ক তৈরি করতে পারবো, যেটা আমেরিকার মাটিতে যেটা মানে এখন খুবই গুরুত্বপূর্ণ। আগামী 3-4 বছর যে ঘটনাটা ঘটবে, H1 ভিসা বন্ধ। সো কোনো H1 এর লোক আসবে না, $1 লক্ষ দিয়ে কাউকে আনবে না, সব আমেরিকার এমপ্লয়মেন্ট হবে। সো এই জিনিসটা খুবই ইম্পর্টেন্ট সবার জন্য। এবং আমাদের স্বপ্নের এমএসএসপি যে ম্যানেজমেন্ট সার্ভিস সিকিউরিটি সার্ভিস প্রোভাইডার, ওইটাও খুব আমরা আশা করছি যে দিস ইজ দ্য ভেরি গুড ফর starting inshallah 2026 we are starting this project inshallah. So এভাবে করে slowly we can start future. Okay, so আপনাদের কেমন মনে হচ্ছে? দিস ইজ এ গুড ওয়ে ফর আস?
আচ্ছা ভাইয়া, মানে আহ, এখানে তো মোস্ট অফ দ্য পিপল মেবি সিটিজেন অথবা গ্রিন কার্ড হোল্ডার। তো আমরা তো যারা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল আসছি তাদের জন্য তো এখন দেখা যাচ্ছে যে আরো ডিফিকাল্ট হয়ে গেছে আর কি। কারণ আপনার ইচ ইয়ার দেখলাম $100,000 দিতে হবে যদি কোনো কোম্পানি স্পন্সর করতে চায় আর কি। তো সেক্ষেত্রে আমাদের চান্সেস তো অনেক কমে গেল এটার ব্যাপারে।
এখানে আরো অনেক কিছু চান্স আছে। এখানে যদি আপনি বলতে চান যে আপনি যদি বিজনেস, তখন আপনি অনেক অনেক চান্স আছে। শুধুমাত্র যে আপনি জবে মানে আপনি এমপ্লয়ি H1 ভিসা দরকার, ওইটা দরকার। আপনি যে কোনো কোম্পানিতে আপনি আনস্কিল ভিসা নিয়ে আসতে পারবেন। হ্যাঁ, মানে H1 ভিসা না, EB3 ভিসা দিয়ে ঢুকতে পারবেন আনস্কিল্ড। বুঝছেন?
জি জি ভাইয়া, জি।
সো
আচ্ছা ভাইয়া, আচ্ছা এই জিনিসগুলো কি ভাইয়া রিমোট ওয়ার্কিং এর পিছনেও কি মানে একইভাবেই কাজ করবে মানে?
একইভাবে কাজ করবে, হ্যাঁ। এখন এগুলো খুব স্ট্রিক্টলি কাজ করবে। একইভাবে কাজ করবে। আপনার ধরেন যে আপনার একটা কোম্পানির EB3 ভিসা আছে, একটা কোম্পানির ইনভেস্টমেন্ট ভিসা আছে, একটা
জি
কোম্পানির
জি
পার্টনার ভিসা আছে, অনেক ভিসা আছে। আপনি একটা মানে আমেরিকায় একটা কোম্পানি বা একটা থাকার প্ল্যান করলে আপনি অনেক সুযোগ সুবিধা আছে। এখন আপনাকে একটা কোম্পানির প্রয়োজন কেন?
জি
যদি আপনি এক্সট্রা অর্ডিনারি হন, আপনাকে 1 লক্ষ না $2 লক্ষ দিয়ে রাখবে সে, $2 লক্ষ দিয়ে
জি
গভর্নমেন্টকে আপনার জন্য রাখবে। হ্যাঁ, তো এই কারণে এখন এক্সট্রা একদম সুপার এক্সট্রা অর্ডিনারি হইতে হবে আর কি একটু।
রাইট রাইট
হ্যাঁ,
ইচ ইয়ার তো ভাইয়া বুঝছেন এটা সুপার এক্সট্রাঅর্ডিনারি হওয়া লাগবে মেবি সায়েন্টিস্ট অর সামথিং লাইক দ্যাট।
হ্যাঁ, মানে একটু একটু এক্সট্রা অর্ডিনারি হলে যে আপনাকে প্রয়োজন ওই কোম্পানি, তাহলে সে $1 লক্ষ দিয়ে রাখা তার জন্য কোনো ব্যাপার না। আর আর এগুলো অনেক ইজিলি অনেক কিছু আছে, এটা সবকিছুর মানে কঠিন যত, আবার এটার পথ তত সোজা।
জি ভাইয়া
ঠিক আছে, ইনশাল্লাহ আমরা টুমরো 5 PM আমরা আবার নেক্সট ক্লাস ইনশাল্লাহ ওটা আমি নিব।
থ্যাংক ইউ জি আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
সালাম আলাইকুম।